Buhner looking at some Gooden heat. Top 6, Gooden yet to allow a hit.
Well, this ball is hit hard, but Tino Martinez gets in front of it. It comes up, and the first one really has to be clean. That's a ball that Tino's got to knock down and keep in front of him.
It was ruled an error. Bragg on third, one out. Griffey down again. Edgar Martinez. Ed Williams patrolling center field. No-hitter through 6.
Good defensive positioning. They play him that way.
Jim Lawrence. Yes, it goes through. Single to left. Girardi scores 2-0 New York. Now on the 8th. 2 down. No-hitter intact. Bragg gets frozen. No-hitter through 8. Top 9. A leadoff walk to Alex Rodriguez. Griffey grounds to first. Tino over. Hustling. Diving. Griffey is out.
That admitted he forgot to cover. He got too excited.
With Rodriguez on second, Gooden walks Edgar Martinez on a low curveball. 2 on, 1 out. Buhner at the plate. And Doc here to start overthrowing. Runners move up to second and third. Nel Stottlemyre comes to the mound, tries to calm him down. Gooden stays in. Gooden then steps up. Buhner looking at the heat. 2 down. Everyone on their feet at the stadium as Doc is 1 out away from something he had never accomplished, and that was throwing a no-hitter.
The 2-1. A high pop up. He's going to do it. At shortstop, Jeter on the outfield grass makes the catch. The Yankees win. The Yankees win. And Doc Gooden pitches a no-hitter. And the Yankees win it 2-0.
The Yankees and the Mariners. We thought last year's divisional playoff was all that they could provide. Well, Doc Gooden provides more history tonight as the Yankees take care of the Mariners on a no-hitter from Doc Gooden, his second win. So he has gone 5 hits, 3 hits, 2 hits, and tonight a no-hitter. 9th official no-hitter in Yankee history. You think about Dwight Gooden, so many people say to themselves, what's going on inside this guy's head? Well, Harold Reynolds was at the game and found out tonight there was more going on inside the head than just the no-hitter.
And when did you start thinking about a no-no? You had such great stuff tonight. When did you start thinking about it?
Really not until the 7th. The crowd, was a little louder than normal. And then, to see the big cheers normally than before. So I took a peek at the scoreboard, and that's when it really hit me. After I came in after the 7th inning.
To come back to New York and do it here a little bit better than doing it on the road, possibly?
Oh, it is, because the fans, been with me through my ups and downs, and being able to make the comeback and do this here in New York is a tremendous feeling.
Well, I know you had a lot of things on your mind. Your dad's having open heart surgery tomorrow.
Yes, and I want to dedicate this game to him. And before the game, I was doing a lot of praying for him, and mostly my focus was on him. And when I was out there tonight, he was my main thing, and I just want to dedicate this game to him.
Awful proud of you. You really made some great adjustments, and I'm glad to see you throwing the way you are.
Okay, thank you, Harry.
So Doc Gooden makes history. His first 3 starts, 0-3, last 4, he is 2-0. He has now gone 16 straight innings without giving up a hit. The Major League record, 23, held by Cy Young. By the way, not a bad pitcher. A couple things about Doc Gooden, Dave Campbell. The turnaround, and I don't mean necessarily from when he was going through alcohol rehab and drug rehab, but this season alone.
Well, we saw those numbers from spring training. We saw the numbers early, 11.80, but also he had a terrible spring, an ERA of around 10. Mel Stottlemyre took him out for a throwing session on the side. He really decided he wanted to shorten his delivery. Well, boy, he really has shortened it. We take a look in slow motion at what Stottlemyre was able to accomplish. Instead of rearing way back, Gooden pretty much stands right over the rubber, and all the force is going down. He doesn't have that long arm swing anymore, and Stottlemyre couldn't have been prouder of a pupil tonight. Gooden in this ball game, Ken Griffey. Look at the Yankees are back on top. Gooden, strike 2. Now Griffey doesn't know what to look for. He goes up and away. So now Griffey's got to be looking for another breaking ball. No, he heats him up and away. And Stottlemyre obviously likes what he sees. Jay Buhner, strike 1. This is in the 9th inning. Now this pitch, he may have gotten some help from the home plate umpire, but then he took him right up the ladder for the strikeout. And of course, he retired Paul Sorrento to
career getting a new beginning tonight, just as the next season was ending. You could not be human and be unmoved by the sight of Gooden thrusting his fists into the air after no-hitting the Seattle Mariners this evening 2-0. All the heroics this man provided for so long with the New York Mets, only to come within inches of throwing his life, let alone his career, away on drugs. And now to return to the Yankees in triumph. Doc later on would say that he dedicated this performance to his father, who is going into the hospital for heart surgery tomorrow. That was amazing. We will replay tonight's game once again in its entirety here on MSG Thursday night at 7:30, so get those V's.
Crazy after all. Later on the show, we'll hear from the Yankees manager Joe Torre. We move on now. Mike Piazza and the Dodgers. Piazza's done his job. He's got 10 home runs, but only 31 RBIs. 7 of his homers have come with the bases empty.
Bragg, the double play. Bernie applauding. Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre sitting in. Saw Doc struggle with his control much of the evening. But in the third, Gooden blows a fastball by Ken Griffey. He would strike him out a couple times in the game. In the fourth, facing the equally dangerous ex-Yankee Jay Buhner, Gooden delivers another fastball, strike 3. Now catcher Joe Girardi calling for the heat again. This is the 6th. Griffey at the plate, strike 3 once more. Meanwhile, ex-Yankee Sterling Hitchcock was pitching almost as well. The 7th inning, though, facing the man he was traded for, Martinez, Tino picks on a breaking ball, a shallow fly to center field. Wade Boggs, well, medium depth at least, Wade Boggs tags up from third. Sacrifice fly makes it 1-0 for the Yanks, the only run Gooden would need. Next batter, Jimmy Leyritz at the plate, delivers a base hit to left field, sharp single. Joe Girardi comes home. 2-0 for the Yankees. So all that remained for Lou Piniella and everybody else to see was if Gooden would get his no-hitter. He had a 1-2-3 8th. We showed you earlier that great play Martinez made in the 9th inning at first base to keep it alive. And here once more is the final out as Gooden gets Paul Sereno to pop to Derek Jeter. What a night. What a story. Tremendously moving. Pandemonium at Yankee Stadium. And when it all had begun to quiet down, several minutes later after this, and Doc Gooden had been hoisted off the field, thrusting his fists in the air on the shoulders of his Yankee teammates, Gooden made his way down to our studios to talk with Mike Crispino.
This by far, I guess, was my best game. And, you know, coming to the game, the first couple of innings, I was struggling a bit and felt like I wasn't there. But as the game went along, I was able to get stronger and stronger.
Tell me about, first of all, let's tell me about the emotion after this game. When you were lifted on the shoulders of your team, I have never seen you emote like that, not since 1986 when the Mets won the series.
Yeah, that was like the same type of feeling, you know. It's just something that hits you, you know, to do it. Once I got 2 outs, you know, I was feeling the crowd was up. And, you know, I know Sorrento's got a lot of power. And so when he popped the ball up, something just went through me, and there it was.
Other American League scores tonight. Baltimore on top of Oakland 5-1 out west. Rye native B.J. Surhoff broke that one open with a grand slam, his 10th home run of the season. The Orioles, should they win this game, will remain 2 games behind the first-place Yankees in the American League East. Red Sox over the California 4-3. John Valentin out of Jersey City had a 2-run
games. Afterwards, Harold Reynolds caught up with the Yankees manager.
This was spectacular. I mean, from where Doc came from in spring training, and, you know, Mel Stottlemyre and I felt he had good stuff, but we couldn't get in his body to tell him he had good stuff. When Mel went out to talk to him, you know, I said, just go quiet him down. It looks like he's rushing a little bit. And then I said, Mel, if he says he's done, then take him out. Because you know, I don't have to take him out. You go ahead and take him out and bring him.
So you were going to let him take him out?
Right. I figured they'd boo him, and then I'd get off the hook.
As far as the anatomy of this no-hitter, 135 pitches, 73 of them were strikes. The groundouts were 7, the flyouts were 14. He went to a full count 8 times. Mel Stottlemyre said the right things to him when he came out, and Gooden gets the no-hitter. So, all of a sudden, I mean, this was the year of the offense. Balls juiced, lighter no-hitter, Gooden no-hitter. What's going on?
Yeah, Steve Traxel, a 1-hitter last night. Bullinger, a 2-hitter. Ken Hill, a 4-hitter tonight. They got to lower the mound. I mean, pitching's starting to dominate here, so, you know, you got to give the hitters a chance.
As far as you look at Gooden tonight, obviously he's responsible, but how much of a role does Torre play in Stottlemyre and Girardi?
I think everybody, you know, took a role to it. One thing about Joe Girardi, he will call the breaking ball when the pitcher's behind in the count, like 2-1, 2 balls, no strikes. He's not going to give in to the hitter. Maybe that was part of the training with the Rockies staff that didn't have overpowering pitching, but the curveball was a great pitch for Gooden tonight, and that set up the fastball.
Threw the curveball in crucial situations. When Dave and I come back on Baseball Tonight, other games, the Twins doing their best to help Eric Hansen and the Jays get their 3rd straight win.
Until the ball came down in the Jeter's glove, and the entire Yankee team is between shortstop and the pitcher's mound, and they are bombing right.
John Sterling with the call on WABC Radio in New York, and indeed, Dwight Gooden has pitched a no-hitter. It's the 2nd one in just 4 days. Simply amazing when you think about it. Hopefully, that will be the Hey, three's a charm, right? Maybe one more. We have another one coming up this week somewhere. I could feel it. Anyway, as I said, just 4 days ago, Florida Marlins left-hander Al Leiter tossed the first no-hitter of his career and the first in franchise history. Well, tonight it was time for another no-no, but this time it was the American League, the Seattle Mariners in New York to face the good doctor, and the Yankees in a remarkable pitching performance by Doc Gooden. And yes, Doc Gooden, like Al Leiter, would get the job done. Gooden on the mound for the Bombers. Alex Rodriguez at the plate, drives it to center, and it looks like it's over Gerald Williams' head. Oh, what a play by Williams. Little did he know that this great catch and this double play would be part of a no-hit effort. Gooden against Ken Griffey Jr. Look out. Fastball moving away from him. Sixth inning, a close call again. Edgar Martinez, line drive, and here is, of course, Gerald Williams making it look so easy. Now, final out, Doc Gooden versus Paul Sereno. Gets him the pop-up. Shortstop Derek Jeter, the rookie, says, how about that? I got the ball, and Dwight Gooden's got a no-hitter, the first of his career. The final score, 2-0, New York over Seattle, and afterwards, Doc Gooden had this to say about the final out.
Well, the last pitch right there, we had to go fastball. I missed with the breaking ball earlier. So, you know, all night we've been staying away from him. And then when the game's on the line like this, with a guy with that type of power, if he's going to beat you, you want to make him beat you all the way. So, and right here, I just got to throw as hard as I can and hopefully I can get it, you know, down the way. And, you know, I know Sorrento's got a lot of power, so we popped the ball up. Something just went through me and there it was. If Jeter dropped it, that would have been pretty embarrassing. As soon as he caught it, that's when the emotion went through.
Some story for Doc Gooden and the New York Yankees. It was the first no-hitter against the Mariners since April 11, 1990, when California's Mark Langston and Mike Witt blanked them 1-0. Ironically, Gooden won a Cy Young Award and combined 157 career victories as a member of the Mets, and they're still a franchise who have not had a no-hitter. Simply amazing. There you see the goose egg. Nicely done. The 11th no-hitter in New York Yankees history. Saying he was satisfied with his return to the NBA, one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
For a check of the weather. Looking from top to bottom are the current conditions at our weather stations in each borough. Later on, a Bronx roar goes up at Yankee Stadium as Dwight Gooden pitches a no-hitter and takes the Yankees to a 2-0 victory over Seattle. It's the first career no-hitter for the first-year Yankee and former Met. Gooden was let go by the Mets after violating his drug aftercare program 2 years ago. He'd been 1-3 in his previous 6 starts since signing with the Yanks last October. The Doc struggled in the 9th, allowing 2 walks before striking out Jay Buhner. He clinched his victory when Paul Sereno popped out to shortstop Derek Jeter. The Doc's fans were out in force.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, especially in view of everything else that's gone on with the Yankees as a whole, with Cohen hurt and everything else. But the other thing is Gooden proved that he is coming back, and he's still Dwight Gooden. He's still the doctor.
He's demonstrated for his whole career, coming back, exactly what it takes to come back from whatever adversities he's had in the past to be a true professional in the sport.
Gooden became the first Yankee to throw a no-hitter since Jim Abbott beat Cleveland 4-0 back in 1993. Steve Cangelosi will have more on the Gooden story a little bit later on. The medical exam.
New York Yankee baseball coming to you from the stadium on MSG, and Dwight Gooden taking the mound for the Yankees in search of his second Yankee and American League win, and working on a string of retiring 22 consecutive batters. Look at the good numbers, averaging a strikeout per inning. And Dwight Gooden in his last 3 starts, as we chronicled, has been a completely different pitcher than the Dwight Gooden who began the year in Texas when he gave up home runs in that game to Kevin Elster and Mickey Tettleton. And since then, no long balls allowed by the doctor, Dwight Gooden. Here's a look at the batting order tonight for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Darren Bragg, Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, the American League batting champ, then Jay Buhner, Paul Sereno, Dan Wilson, Joey Cora, and former Yankee Russ Davis.
Couple new names in that lineup to face Doc Gooden, and of course the change in the motion we mentioned, just for those who have not followed the Yankees every game. Doc is getting the ball out of the glove a lot faster, getting the hand up in the throwing position, and it's helped him have a sharper breaking ball with better command of it and better control. Let's take a look at the Yankees behind Doc Gooden in the field tonight. There's a first-timer in left. The first time that Ruben Sierra has played left field in Yankee Stadium. As Mike Crispino said, yes, it could be interesting. Gerald's in center because of Bernie's injury. Paul O'Neill in right. Around the infield, Wade Boggs and Derek Jeter. Robert Einhorn, the right-handed hitting second baseman, gets the start with Tino at first and Joe Girardi behind the plate. And Bernie, hi, Mom. Yep. He's not used to sitting on the bench, day-to-day situation.
In fact, Tim Raines had to point to him and say, Bernie, you're on. Smile, take advantage of it.
They know where that camera is.
So here we go with Darren Bragg, one of the many left fielders Seattle has used over the years to try to fill that position. And Doc Gooden's first pitch is taken for a strike by Bragg. Leadoff batters have reached base in about half the innings in which Gooden has pitched this year. Here's a sharp breaking pitch, and he jumps out ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. Darren Bragg in this power pack lineup already with 3 homers.
He started the season with the Mariners, hit about $150. They optioned him down to AAA. He took advantage of it, came back, and he's been on fire, hitting over 400 since his return.
Another sharp breaking pitch inside to Bragg, who you might have seen chokes up a little bit on the bat. The on-deck man is Alex Rodriguez, the shortstop. Well, that'll give you an indication perhaps of the strike zone by our home plate umpire tonight. Dan Morrison. Gooden goes full to the leadoff batter, and Joe Girardi sends out the sign. And the leadoff man reaches base against Dwight Gooden.
Ooh, that's as painful a walk as you give up as a pitcher when you get the hitter 0-2 and then end up losing him to a base on balls. And here's the 2-2 pitch, the curveball. And may have broke just around the plate, in the opinion of home plate umpire Dan Morrison.
Well, let's put it in perspective now. This is the 34th inning that Gooden is pitching. 17 leadoff men have reached base, and 10 have come around to score. Alex Rodriguez with 1 on and nobody out. He takes a fastball, and ooh, that one is high.
Youngest player in the major leagues, just 20 years of age. And since he's moved up to the number 2 spot about 5 games ago, tells you how your at bat can be affected by the guy in the on deck circle.
He's an old man.
Jeter at 21, but Rodriguez, since moving into the number 2 spot, hitting almost 500 with 3 home runs, and that's because with Ken Griffey Jr. in the on deck circle, he's getting more fastballs to hit.
There is Junior. Rodriguez debuted in the major leagues at 18 years of age. Tony La Russa and Robin Yount were a couple of other 18-year-old shortstops. This time Gooden gets the called strike.
Yeah, if there's any example of players getting bigger and stronger in baseball today, here's 2 shortstops, Jeter and Rodriguez. Alex, 6'3", a little over 200 pounds. I mean, at the shortstop middle infield position, and Derek Jeter, 6'3", about 190. He's going to be 200 before, when he fills out completely.
That one misses inside, so now the count to Rodriguez is 2-1. Lou Piniella, very successful manager with the Seattle Mariners. In fact, the only Seattle manager with a winning record. And 4 more wins, will be the all-time winningest Seattle Mariner.
We've got 2 managers that were outstanding hitters in the major leagues, and they're very offensive-minded. Apt to see more hit and runs.
This ball is hit hard to straightaway center. A tough play for Gerald, and he gets it. Unbelievable. He stuck his glove up. Now the relay back to first. Double play. Bernie applauding that catch by Gerald Williams, who went straight back and stuck the glove up.
Wow.
And he caught it.
Man, watch Gerald turn the other way and reach up. I mean, that's Willie Mays-like going to the center field wall. That is as good a catch as you're going to see. He barely had sight of the ball, and then the throw to Jeter on target. and they get the double play easily. See, first he turns to his right and then has to turn to the backhand side and reaches over. Just got the ball in the webbing. And again, when they talked about Mays' great catch, the thing they talked about was the throw afterwards, and that also is what Gerald did. He turned through to Jeter right on target, and the double play was easy.
That was spectacular. I don't think he saw it at the last minute. He just stuck the glove up. And Griffey takes the off-speed pitch for a called strike. Got to get out my green pen now and highlight that defensive play. Wow, that was something. Here's a guy who knows all about making those kind of plays.
Well, the most difficult play to make for a center fielder is the ball that is hit right at you. See, and Gerald's been used to playing left, so when he went straight back, he didn't really know whether to turn to the right or turn to the left, and kind of got turned around just a bit, but reached out and caught it backhanded.
So the count to Griffey now is 2 balls and 1 strike. Gooden helped out by that spectacular double play. Falling behind Griffey 3-1.
Yeah, that really bailed out Doc Gooden, because he has done what so many of the Yankee pitchers have done the last 3 starts, fall behind and walk people.
And he checked his swing, but not in time. So the count will go full to Griffey, who comes into tonight's game with 199 lifetime home runs.
And the first time that these 2 stars have had a chance to face one another.
No pitch. And Griffey now 26 years of age. Curveball, that one's high, and Gooden has walked his 2nd man of the inning.
Oh, we may see a bit of a different strike zone tonight. Remember the Chicago series here at the stadium? The first 2 games, Al Clark was behind the plate game 1, then Dan Morrison tonight's umpire in game 2. They called a lot of curveball strikes. See, now Joe Girardi caught that ball below the belt. And in the last game that Morrison umpired, he was calling a lot of those breaking ball strikes. Now that might just be one that he didn't call, but so far in this first inning, it appears that the curveball is not going to be called for a strike as easily in the last time he was back there.
Now the reigning American League batting champion, Edgar Martinez. And he's not exactly slacking off this year. He's at .336.
And he rains hits against the Yankees every time they play. .345 career average against New York.
That time he takes a strike. His last 8 at-bats, he's had 5 hits, and they've all been doubles.
And that's what he did against the Yankees last year. You have to go back to Darrell Evans, when Darrell Evans was a member of the Tigers. Find someone who hit that many home runs in one season against the Yankees.
To right field, O'Neill hoping for a play, gets there just as he meets the warning track. Edgar Martinez uses the whole ballpark, and Doc Gooden used his outfielders. Gerald Williams bailed him out with a great catch, and the Mariners don't score in the top of the 1st.
Who is the world's greatest fighter? Is it Ken the Rock Shamrock, the world super fight champion, or Dan the Beast Severn, the ultimate champion? Find out Friday, May 17th at the Ultimate Fighting Championship 9. The fight, Shamrock versus Severn. Who will wear the belt of the world's greatest fighter? The card, the battle of UFC champions Fry versus Huas, plus 4 more explosive fights. One night, 6 great matchups. Friday, May 17th, live on pay-per-view. UFC 9. Don't miss it.
When cars raced at an awesome 5 miles per hour, Mobil Oil was there. When a race car broke 100, Mobil was in it. Mobil was in the winner of the first race across America. And since then, Mobil has been in more Indy 500 winners than any other oil in the history of Indy. So if you think that all oils are alike, think about something. At Mobil, we've been changing oil for over 125 years.
The Yanks homestand continues against the Angels after AT&T Scorecard. Friday night on MSG.
Now there's the sun setting in the west, streaming through the buildings over the McCombs Dam Bridge. And here's Sterling Hitchcock in his return to the Bronx. Whereas the New York Yankees, Sterling had a record of 16-15. Now you look at his numbers this season. He comes in 3-1 as a Seattle Mariner, facing Wade Boggs. And that is a strike.
And you may see Wade look at it. I said, what do you do when you face a pitcher that has been your teammate? You haven't hit much against him. He said, you look at as many pitches as you can.
Well, he's seen two. One's a strike, one's a ball. Sterling Hitchcock, 25 years old, native of Fayetteville, North Carolina. 4 complete games last year with the Yankees. Off speed, and Boggs lifts it into the air to right center field. Ken Griffey Jr. makes the catch, one away in the first inning for the Yankees. Following Wade Boggs in the Yankee batting order, it'll be Joe Girardi swinging a hot bat, then Paul O'Neill and Ruben Sierra, the cleanup man, Tino Martinez, the ex-Mariner, Jim Leyritz, Gerald Williams, Robert Einhorn, and Derek Jeter. Mentioned Girardi is hot. Last 29 at bats, he's had 13 hits. That pitch outside, ball 1. Girardi has his average now up to 284. Still without a home run. Kind of fisted that one, and it just makes the stands.
And when you look at the Yankee lineup with Bernie on the bench, who do you think leads the lineup in stolen bases? Joe Girardi. He has 5. He's yet to be caught.
Yeah, the running Yankees of Joe Torre. Hitchcock misses outside. It's 2-1. When Sterling Hitchcock was a Yankee last year, we often talked about his lack of picking up the target early in his pitching motion. Girardi went fishing. It's 2-2.
Good fastball there, and what Sterling, when he made the adjustment, and I recall the game he pitched against the Red Sox in Fenway Park, is when he quit bringing the hands up over the head. He keeps them in front of his body so he has the target in his sights at all times.
Again, he jams Girardi, this one to right center field, and a play for Jay Buhner, and an easy one. And there are 2 away.
The Mariners behind Sterling Hitchcock in the field tonight will have Darren Bragg in left field. He beat out former Yankee Louis Polonia in spring training. Then Ken Griffey Jr. in center, Jay Buhner in right. Alex Rodriguez, Joey Cora in the middle of the diamond. Paul Sorrento, formerly the Indians at first. Dan Wilson doing a great job catching. And Russ Davis, the former Yankee, getting a chance to play every day. He has made 4 errors, but it hasn't hurt the Mariners. They have allowed fewer unearned runs than any team in the American League, just 7.
O'Neill stepping out slightly against the lefty Sterling Hitchcock. You mentioned Louis Polonia. He is resurfaced as the left fielder of the Baltimore Orioles.
The Yankees will see him in July.
Well, all the targets are out for O'Neill. 2-0 from Sterling Hitchcock. We're in the bottom of the first. 2 outs, no score. O'Neill leads the American League in hitting at .377. Ooh, he took a big rip at that.
Good live fastball. You know, O'Neill just the opposite of Boggs. Wade said, I'd like to see a lot of pitches tonight from Hitchcock just to get a read. I said to Paul, what are you going to look for against Hitchcock? He said, I've got no idea. You know, I haven't hit against him that much in batting practice. Just look for the ball and hit it.
At the knees. Ooh, that drew a quick response.
Yeah, one of the first hollow of the knee strikes we've seen called. That was supposedly the new strike zone in spring training, and you see right there the hollow of the knee was supposed to be the strike, and that's exactly where that was.
Pitching inside to O'Neill, he fouls it off, so we remain at 2 balls and 2 strikes. O'Neill has had only 1 game this year in which he failed to get on base via either a hit or a walk. And here it is, the batting leaders, Paul O'Neill, followed by Roberto Alomar, Jason Giambi of Oakland, and Scott Brocious, also of the A's. We'll see them next week.
Yankees get a break in the next couple weeks. Baseball gets a bad break because so many of the good players are on the disabled list, and the Mariners are putting their ace left-hander Randy Johnson on the DL because of a back problem, so the Yankees won't see him in the next 10 days. And Scott Brocious, one of the league's leading hitters, still on the DL for Oakland.
gets into this 2-2 and drives it deep to right. Buhner at the track, though, makes the catch. Didn't have that carry, and Buhner picks off 2 out of the air in the first inning, and Sterling Hitchcock works a 1-2-3 bottom of the first inning. We've played 1 and we're scoreless.
A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden. June puts a great lineup of big-time sports action right at your fingertips on MSG Network, like New York Yankees baseball. Catch all the Bronx Bomber action as they battle their way through matchups from across the American League. They take on the Indians, the Twins, and the Baltimore Orioles. Get all the latest team news, lineups, and features with MSG's award-winning pregame show. Al Trotwig hosts Yankee Scorecard. Grab your shades and catch the coastline craze from locations all over the country. It's the AVP Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. Tune in and catch all the hard-driving, fast-paced action that's taking the area by storm. Don't miss Metro Stars Soccer. Take a hard look at today's fast-moving sports world and the people who make the headlines. Bob Page hosts Page One. Plus, you can always catch the latest scores, stories, highlights, and area high school sports news on Coors Light MSG Sports Desk. It's all right at your fingertips. A great lineup of June sports action on MSG Network, the best in the game. Grab a seat and hold on tight. Don't miss all the fast-paced, hard-driving action of Metro Stars Soccer, the real deal, next Friday night on MSG.
We go to the second inning, and here's another former Yankee, Jay Buhner. Up to lead off for the Mariners, played with the Yankees 87, 88, hit 3 homers in the 88 season, and then was traded in what turned out to be a rather infamous trade. And Buhner, first ball hitting, pops it a mile high into short center field. Jeter calling off Gerald Williams and Ruben Sierra, and he makes the catch.
Ruben did the right thing. He said, take it, Derek, plenty of room, you got it. He's going to let him take all of those. That did have some hang time.
So Jeter records the first put out. Let's see how they played it.
We could just note how long it takes this ball to come down. Derek checks Gerald, and he said, stay out there, Ruben, I got it. Let the sure man have it.
Jeter is very good at going back on pop-ups if we have seen this year, especially in the center field. This pitch is low now to Paul Sorrento, the former Indian, who's come over, and all he's done is hit 10 home runs. He's got 10. Griffey has 10. Buhner has 10. Edgar Martinez only with 9.
In Cleveland, he was a platoon player, and of course the Indians acquired Julio Franco, felt that Paul was expendable. He platooned with Herbert Perry, right-hand hitter. Here he's getting a chance to play every day, and Dave, he's one of the fortunate ones, and not that a player doesn't earn it. 4 years in the major leagues, he's got 2 World Series rings already. The Twins in '91, and picked one up with the Indians last year. A winning ring and a losing ring, but to be in 2 World Series in 4 years is you have to be fortunate to be on teams like that.
You got to ask him which one he wears. I would have guessed he'd wear the winning ring.
I think so.
Gooden goes low to him with a count of 3-1. That's ball 4 now, and that's the 3rd walk that Gooden has issued in this game.
Yeah, maybe the meeting, I don't know. You have meetings and players think too much about it, but Joe Torre, Mel Stottlemyre disturbed with the Yankees. Mike Crispino covered it on the scorecard show. Disturbed with the Yankee starters. They walked 15 men in 11 innings. Kamenicki, Rogers, and Pettit. And Joe trying to meet with the pitchers along with Mel Stottlemyre and get them to trust their stuff and be more aggressive and challenge early in the count with strikes. And Doc is not doing it yet here tonight.
Well, Doc was bailed out in the first inning by a sensational catch turned into a double play by Gerald Williams. Then he walked Ken Griffey. Now Dan Wilson taking a strike. Wilson already with the 8 home runs is within 1 of his career high in a season. Sorrento leading off. Off the end of the bat, this one to right field, and O'Neill waiting. A lot of fly ball outs early in this game. 2 away here in the Seattle second.
I guess we ought to expect that. We've talked about all the home runs these two teams hit in the division series last year, and then the Mariners leading the major leagues in home runs. You'd expect to see a lot of balls in the air.
Now, speaking of home runs, this player, Joey Cora, did not hit a home run in the major leagues until his 886th at bat. He had 7 home runs in his whole career before this season, and now he's got, what, 3 already?
What does that tell you, I wonder? Yeah, he hit one in Game 5 off David Cone early in Game 5 last year, but I think it tells you. I talked to Lou Piniella, great student of hitting, the Mariner manager. What do you think about all the scoring? You say, well, got a lot of young pitchers. You got some veteran hitters. You know, combine those two things, and then nobody wants to say the ball is really purposely juiced up, but it is wound tighter. when you begin, you just mentioned Dan Wilson within 1 of his total of all last year. Joey Cora has 3. Balls flying out to the opposite field. There's something about the baseball.
Absolutely. You can understand the big strong guys, but a guy like Cora has hit 7 in his career, and he's got 3 in the first month.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's been in the weight room a lot.
Jim Leyritz had an interesting theory. He said he thinks players are going back to heavier bats, and he thinks you get, you know, better wood on it.
Well, you might. Paul O'Neill swings a 35-inch, 35-ounce. That is quite heavy by today's standards. That was, you know, a couple of decades ago would have been a normal power hitter's bat. A lot of hitters been going to the 31, 32 ounces.
Well, the fans want a strikeout, but Cora is tough to fan, and he hits that one off the facade of the Yankee dugout. The on-deck man is the former Yankee, Russell Davis. In fact, last year, Joey Cora was the 3rd toughest man to strike out in the American League. Only 1 for every 15.5 plate appearances. Very modest lead at first for Paul Sorrento. Dwight Gooden pitching here in the top of the second inning. He's walked 3, but has not, to this point, allowed a base hit. That one broke down, and no shakes the home plate umpire, and Al Clark confirms no swing.
Good sharp breaking ball by Doc. And you mentioned how difficult Cora is to strike out. That discipline tells you why. A lot of hitters chase that pitch. Joey held up.
Right back up the middle. Einhorn makes the tag, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. Good job by Einhorn, and I guess Gooden fortunate he didn't deflect that ball. It might have been an infield single. So Gooden again blanks the Mariners, and we remain scoreless.
Brought to you by the world leader in Windows graphics software, Corel Print House is the fast and easy way for everyone to create great-looking greeting cards, stationery, banners, and more. Work with professionally designed samples or start your own creations from scratch. With Corel Print House, it's only a few easy steps to any printing project. Get creative. Get Corel Print House, the easy all-in-one graphics powerhouse exclusively for Microsoft Windows 95.
Dodge Viper GTS is the official pace car of this year's Indianapolis 500, which is appropriate since Dodge is also setting the pace on the streets. And right now, Dodge is picking up that pace by offering you a choice of $1,000 cash back or more, or low 1.9% financing on select Dodge cars, which could make Dodge the official pace car of your driveway. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
It's amazing, but lots of homeowners didn't refinance their homes in 1993.
At the Money Store, you can refinance with just one phone call.
It's probably because people think they have to have perfect credit.
The Money Store Refinance. One loan, one payment.
We look for a way to pay off all those high-rate bills. The mortgage, the cards, all of them.
So you end up with one loan, one payment. Even if your credit is less than perfect, call the Money Store at 1-800-LOAN-YES. That's 1-800-LOAN-YES.
The Yankees are back on top. the second at Yankee Stadium here on MSG, and coming up to the plate is Ruben Sierra.
Wow. Drum and bugle corps. Hut, 2, 3, 4. Spats. He's got some style to him.
Ruben swinging against Sterling Hitchcock, and he takes that for a strike. Before the game, Ken Griffey, in a discussion with Ruben, said, you know, Ruben, if you hit one out of the park today, you can throw your bat, but don't go shaking on us. He was bailing out on that pitch, which was outside. Ruben said he considers Griffey far and away to be the best player in the game. He mentioned a few other names, Bonds, Bell. He said, no, that guy, Griffey, he's the best.
Well, Bonds would be right there with him. And unfortunately for Ruben, he has cut down now on his time in the weight room. But when he came up, he could have been in that same category. He was a terrific outfielder, had a chance to be a great all-around player. You know, he has become a designated hitter that has some power, but when he came up to the big leagues at 6'1", 175 pounds with the Rangers, finished second to Robin Yount in the MVP voting in 1989. He was a much better than average outfielder. In fact, he wanted to be another Roberto Clemente. And it's unfortunate that he got carried away with trying to hit home runs, which has taken away from his ability to be a complete, or chance really to be a complete all-around player.
Waiting on the 2-2. And you can see him start flinching toward third, and Hitchcock's keeping the ball away from him. Ruben hits a lot of balls off the end of the bat, as he did earlier in this at-bat, and broke his bat. That time couldn't reach the outside part of the plate. A strikeout victim of Sterling Hitchcock. First strikeout of the game, and here is the ex-Mariner Tino Martinez. And before the game, Tino, Griffey, big hug from Jay Buhner.
Yeah, first time they've seen one another since they bowed out of the championship series last year against the Indians.
So two players traded for each other, with others thrown in there, Jeff Nelson and Jim Messier. When's the last time you saw a five-man trade where everybody's contributing to their new team right off the bat? And Tino takes a strike. Joe Torre said really the big surprise in the trade has been Jim Messier. He really likes the contributions that Messier has made to this team, and Nelson's now beginning to get on track.
That was Messier and Nelson in the Yankee bullpen. In fact, Chris Bosio, tomorrow night's starter, is the first guy he asked about. How's Jim Messier doing? Now, all the Mariners had a lot of confidence in Jim Messier's ability to be a big league pitcher. And that is unusual. You mentioned where all five have contributed. Sometimes one player on each team has done something, but you see Tino now with 5 home runs, and Jeff Nelson starting to pitch better, and Russ Davis playing every day, and Hitchcock has 3 wins. It's helped both teams.
Martinez went after a pitch obviously beneath the hollow of the knee, and he stays alive at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Tino is one of the few in the Yankee lineup that have had some experience against Sterling. In fact, successful last year, 4 for 6 against Hitchcock. Sierra's also batted against Hitchcock before.
Tino's taken him deep once. Here's the 2-2. All the way back. Dan Wilson behind the plate. New baseball thrown out by Dan Morrison. Tino Martinez, according to Joe Torre, hasn't been able to keep his hands back enough. He's been over anxious. This time he strokes it to second, played by Joey Cora, and the throw to Serrano is in plenty of time. Here's the big unit, Randy Johnson, in the dugout.
And he'll be the disabled unit for at least 15 days. Unfortunately, he came back, started 1 game because of the lower back problem, thought he could pitch with it, but it's affecting a nerve. Sounds like it might be the sciatic nerve going down into the right leg, and so Randy's going to have to shut it down for at least 2 weeks.
Well, Jim Leyritz now for the Yankees, who had his confrontation last year with Randy Johnson when he was hit by a pitch out in Seattle. The two then met again at Yankee Stadium without further incident.
Well, and the big confrontation Jim had was that dramatic confrontation with Tim Belcher. He hit the 2-run homer to win it in the 15th inning.
In the rain. Hitchcock coming inside after keeping a couple of pitches away. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Beautiful night at Yankee Stadium. Still a little bit on the cool side, but after Chicago it feels balmy. There's Norm Charlton, the ace left-handed reliever of the Seattle Mariners. 2-2 now to Leyritz. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. No score. So far a pitcher's duel between Sterling Hitchcock and Doc Gooden. Jim in a mighty struggle. Just 1 for his last 15. Sterling Hitchcock came to the Yankees originally in '92, pitched in parts of '93 and '94. Occasional starter, occasionally out of the bullpen. Last year mostly a starter. Leyritz lines a solid single to left field, the first base hit of this ball game. So Jim, who used to catch Sterling Hitchcock with great frequency, now hits him well with a base hit to left field.
Gets a 3-2 fastball and right on time. A couple of swings like that'll bring him out of that slump he's been in.
Leyritz at first base now, and Gerald Williams sporting a .364 average. We talked about Joe Girardi with 5 stolen bases. Gerald Williams, no steals but 5 home runs.
And just terrorizing left-hand pitching. Tops in the American League. Right at 500. Pretty good names he's beaten out there. Albert Bell and Chuck Knobloch. Rusty Greer, a left-hand hitter, hitting .433 against lefties. And then Mark Lewis of the Tigers.
Anytime you're sitting atop Albert Bell in any offensive category, that is saying something.
Well, I don't know none of us know the outcome of this game, but it might get lost in it. But when you look back, it's Gerald's catch. I mean, the Mariners got 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. If he doesn't make that catch, who knows how many that has scored that inning.
Well, he took something off of that, had Gerald out in front. Hitchcock's doing a good job at changing speeds.
His numbers are still very much like they were with the Yankees. Sterling Hitchcock. Hitters do not do as well against him with nobody on base, and then when he gets men on, the average goes up. Usually pays a lot of attention to base runners, and in scoring position they go up even higher.
Leyritz going, the throw down is not in time. He gets the steal and he's on his way to 3rd as Wilson's throw went into center field. Jim Leyritz picking up his 2nd steal, and he did not lose his turn.
Well, they know Hitchcock's move. Sterling lifts the leg up and looks at first, and Wilson actually does a nice job of unloading the ball, but the throw is in the dirt and Cora can't handle it. If Joey stays in there a little longer, he might be able to make the pick, but he bails out at 2nd base, and Leyritz gets all the way to 3rd.
So there's Jim Leyritz leading off 3rd. And Gerald Williams takes that pitch outside, and the count goes full to him. Gerald hitting 7th in the Yankee order tonight. Scoreless here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. That's ball 4, and the Yankees now will have runners at the corners with 2 out. First walk of the game issued by Sterling Hitchcock. Gerald looking across the diamond to get his side, and Lou Piniella positioning his outfielders.
They want him to move over toward right center. They don't anticipate Einhorn pulling the ball. They are going to play him straight away.
Runner goes. The throw is going to be in plenty of time.
Oh, big mistake by Gerald. And Joe Torre wondering, wait a minute, The object there is to get caught in the rundown. See if we can get the guy from third home. Gerald slides right into the tag.
So the Yankees run themselves out of a possible scoring inning, and after 2, it's still Seattle nothing, the Yankees nothing.
A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden. June puts a great lineup of big-time sports action right at your fingertips on MSG Network, like New York Yankees baseball. Catch all the Bronx Bomber action as they battle their way through matchups from across the American League. They take on the Indians, the Twins, and the Baltimore Orioles. Get all the latest team news, lineups, and features with MSG's award-winning pregame show. Al Trotwig hosts Yankee Scorecard. Grab your shades and catch the coastline craze from locations all over the country. It's the AVP Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. Tune in and catch all the hard-driving, fast-paced action that's taking the area by storm. Don't miss Metro Stars Soccer. Take a hard look at today's fast-moving sports world and the people who make the headlines. Bob Page hosts Page One. Plus, you can always catch the latest scores, stories, highlights, and area high school sports news on Coors Light MSG Sports Desk. It's all right at your fingertips. A great lineup of June sports action on MSG Network, the best in the game.
The best in the game.
Wade Boggs with a diving stop. The Yankees are back on top.
The moment of bet.
On MSG, catch it right here. The Yanks homestand continues against the Angels after AT&T Scorecard. Friday night on MSG.
Lou Piniella, soon to be the winningest Seattle Mariner manager ever. And what about this rivalry between his team and the Yankees?
Possibly. You know, I know they're out here on the East Coast and we're up there in the Pacific Northwest, but, you know, the Yankees have always been a big draw in Seattle anyway. There are a lot of Yankee people, fans up there in the Pacific Northwest. So I think that there's a little bit of a natural rivalry, even though both teams have had a lot of turnovers since last year. In fact, you've got 3 of our kids right here, and we've got 2 of yours.
And there's one of his, formerly a Yankee, Russell Davis, flying out to the track, hauled in by Paul O'Neill. That's his 3rd catch of the game here in inning number 3.
I think what did a lot for that rivalry that Lou is talking about is that division series. Watching a lot of the highlights of that tonight on our scorecard show with Mike Crispino. I mean, that was as good watching the replays. Not good for Yankee fans, but a good series. Just watching all the highlights and the great plays, home runs.
Yeah, the regular season was also quite spirited between the Yankees and the Mariners. Ken Griffey hitting that home run, the walk-off home run against John Wetland that may have at that point saved the franchise in the city of Seattle. This ball is lifted in the air. Center field, Gerald Williams calling off Ruben Sierra. Ruben with a little bit of a token effort right behind him.
See, he pointed, he said, "You anything there? Yeah, you got it. When I say I got it, I got it."
Alex Rodriguez coming to the plate. Let's take a look at what happened first time up against Doc Gooden. He hits this ball straight away center field, and Gerald Williams threw up his glove in the vicinity of where that ball was, made the catch, then the relay. Einhorn to Martinez, a double play.
Yeah, threw a strike to the cutoff man.
Dwight Gooden working in the 3rd inning against Alex Rodriguez. Gooden has walked 3. And the called strike. Doc looking for his first 1-2-3 inning with 2 outs here in the 3rd. 20-year-old Alex Rodriguez. That was a nice sharp breaking pitch by Doc. Late movement and sharp.
Well, what has been Doc's history is the curveball is there in terms of sharpness. Again, the hand coming out of the glove. It just takes him a couple of innings to get good command of it. So usually if teams do not get him early, as is the case with a lot of successful pitchers, he gets better as the game goes on.
Thought he had the corner. So did most of the umpires in the stands here.
Girardi sitting out there, And you can see Joe had to reach just a bit outside to get it.
Same idea, same results. Now the count goes to 3-2. Well, Mel Stottlemyre has seen Doc walk 3 men already, including one after an 0-2 count. Still cold enough to blow on your hands on the mound. Lost him. Tried the 3-2 curve.
Slipsies. We talked about Joe Torre's meeting before the game with the pitchers. And Mel Stottlemyre's gone through this too. Talk about getting pitchers warmed up and then play a game. Set the catcher right behind the middle of the plate. Try to throw 10 pitches right down the middle. See how many out of 10 you can do. You can't do it. The ball will hit either corner, one way or the other. But what we see now is a lot of catchers moving side to side and pitchers trying to hit the corner, missing and falling behind. And that's what Joe was trying to convey to his pitching staff. Be more aggressive, challenge the hitter, make him hit it.
Ken Griffey Jr. walked his first time up. Gooden is not missing by much, but he has not gotten any calls.
Well, those are off the plate, so it's not like Dan Morrison has a tiny strike zone.
That one broke and caught the outside part of the plate. 1-1 to Griffey.
There's the backdoor curve that Doc gets in for a strike.
The man who's running for president. I heard a story that some player on another team really thought that this was true.
You mean it isn't?
Here's Rodriguez leading off. Opposite field, and it'll carry out a play. Of course, some might think that Dennis Rodman is running for vice president after his Saturday Night Live stint. Well, that's popular these days here at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, he's running for president.
Saw a couple of those in the Yankee clubhouse.
The Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Now here comes the crowd again, trying to get the first Doc Gooden K of the night. To this point, he has walked 4, struck out no one.
See, that's the pitch you don't get. I say you don't get it. We talked about the shrinking strike zone, and you don't get a pitch above the belt. See, this is exactly where Gooden wants to throw that ball, and that is belt high. See, right there, you saw it go right across Griffey's belt, and yet that pitch is called for high. That's one of the reasons pitchers have a tougher time today.
Swing and a miss. Doc Gooden blew him away with a high fastball toward the outside part of the plate, and that is strikeout number 1. And Gooden works another scoreless inning. In the middle of the third, it remains the Yankees nothing, the Mariners nothing.
I love this building. It's had an extraordinary life of its own on the boardwalk. From its days as the grandest of the grand hotels of the 20s to its years of service during World War II to 1978 when it ushered in a whole new era, My Resorts has played center stage. But through all these years, one thing's never changed: outstanding service. That's why every time you visit Resorts, you'll find all 3,640 of us just waiting to make you happy.
Who is the world's greatest fighter? Is it Ken the Rock Shamrock, the world super fight champion, or Dan the Beast Severn, the ultimate champion? Find out Friday, May 17th at the Ultimate Fighting Championship 9. The fight, Shamrock versus Severn. Who will wear the belt of the world's greatest fighter? The card, the battle of UFC champions Fry versus Huas, plus 4 more explosive fights. One night, 6 great matchups. Friday, May 17th, live on pay-per-view. UFC 9. Don't miss it.
There's a chain of sights and neon lights that ties us together. So pack up your binoculars. The Toyota Summer Drive sales event is on. Run into your dealer now and see the hallmarks of this land in a classy Avalon, or at a special lease of just $229 a month. Hit the road in a Camry DX. We're talking best car built in America. But hurry, because there's great values on Camrys and a 1,000,000 mile post to go. So drive.
Surgery is a step-by-step procedure. Midas way isn't so different. Our trained experts follow rigorous step-by-step procedures, so the job's done right. Well, they may leave a clamp in there, but only if it's necessary.
New York Yankee baseball is being brought to you by American Express, proud sponsor of Yankees baseball. And speaking of American Express, our road notes. On Sunday, the Yankees, with their 10th win in club history, went trailing by 8 or more runs. Cleveland's done it 11 times. Robert Einhorn was batting in the second inning when Gerald Williams got thrown out trying to steal second, with Jim Leyritz on third.
Yeah, that was a very unusual play to end the inning like that on the first pitch. A lot of times managers will give the hitter a swing or two, and then if you fall behind in the count, they'll say, we'll try to steal a run. And Joe Torre's expression after that almost gave me the impression that Gerald Williams went on his own or misread a sign and ran right into the tag.
Einhorn, a strikeout victim of Sterling Hitchcock as he chased a high hard one. So that is strikeout number 2 for Hitchcock.
Similar pitch to what Ken Griffey Jr. struck out on. That pitch up in your eyes looks so inviting, but it takes faster hands to get to that pitch than it does to the low pitch.
Now the number 9 hitter. This is Yankee game number 36, and Derek Jeter has started at shortstop in 35 of them. Jeter offering it more inside fastballs over the last week or so.
He's seeing more of them early in the count. Word got around. Derek Jeter with a lot of opposite field home runs, or hits rather, his first couple weeks in the big leagues. Now they're coming inside more.
There it is again. No play for Dan Wilson behind the plate.
That's why you see young players like Carlos Delgado a couple of years ago with the Blue Jays. They come up and hit 6-7 home runs the first month, and then it stops, and you wonder why. Well, a lot of it is the battle of adjustment. And Derek is a intelligent enough player. We've seen him make the adjustment already, where he can turn on some of those inside pitches.
Right here, batting with 1 out, bottom of the third, and 0-2 count. He turns on this and hits it high and fairly deep to left center field, but there's Griffey. A lot of hang time, another fly ball out in this game.
He used the same ball the whole game. Not going to get any grass stains on it. Everybody's hitting it up in the air or striking out.
Top of the order, Wade Boggs for his second at bat, and he began the game by flying out to Griffey. 3 fly ball outs in the first inning, 1 here in the third. Wilson with a late move after at first he thought it was out of play. He just kept on going, but ultimately did not have a play on it.
Checking that lumber just to see once whether the handle is chipped or whether he broke that bat.
I don't know if he's certain whether it's okay or not. There's Ruben Sierra rubbing up.
Instead of that old soup bone in the dugout, he's using a bat to. That tends to make that wood a little smoother and harder. Jump off the bat quicker. For years, everyone used the old Louisville Slugger. That was about the only bat you could find around a batting cage in the big leagues. Now there are about a dozen of them. Well, there's the KC Slammer that's made in Kansas City. There's the Wilson bat and the Louisville Slugger. I think they trying to think of something with hit in it. They got a couple tricky little.
There's almost a couple of mom and pop operations now making bats.
That's the KC Slammer. Sure hit, I think is one of them.
Boggs with his new bat doesn't offer that pitch. I heard a lot of players talking about, well, sometimes the big companies can't get good wood anymore. Real off-speed breaking pitch.
Sterling hasn't made a lot of changes in his motion. One thing pitching coach Bobby Cuellar that tends to look at is whether he hits on the ball of his foot. Sometimes he tends to stride a little farther and hit on the heel.
Well, Wade Boggs hit that one on the nose, and he hit it in the right field for a base hit. So they want him to land on the ball of his foot, the front part?
You should always land on the ball of your foot. Land on the heel, you usually throw the ball high. Boggs got a fastball inside half, so he got a chance to look at a few pitches in that at bat. And the more he sees of Hitchcock, the more his chances of getting hits will go up.
Well, we still have a scoreless game. The Yankees own the only 2 hits in the game, and here's Joe Girardi. He goes after a high pitch, and they may have a play on this one. Sereno calling off Wilson, makes the catch. 1 pitch, and Joe Girardi is retired. And so are the Yankees in the bottom of the 3rd inning. They got a hit and left a man on base after 3 at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees have the only hits, but neither team has any runs.
I'm Bill Mazur. Lots of people think Mazur in the Morning on WEVD is only about sports. Well, sports is certainly a part of it, but the program is far more than that. For instance, my very first guest, Mario Cuomo. Then we had Spike Lee. Then we had Jack Kemp. Then we had Maury Povich. Then we had Bill Bradley, and we had you. We take your phone calls every day. Join us, won't you? Mazur in the Morning, weekdays 5:30 till 10 on WEVD, New York's Greater 1050.
June puts a great lineup of big-time sports action right at your fingertips on MSG Network, like New York Yankees baseball. Catch all the Bronx Bomber action as they battle their way through matchups from across the American League. They take on the Indians, the Twins, and the Baltimore Orioles. Get all the latest team news, lineups, and features with MSG's award-winning pregame show. Al Trotwig hosts Yankee Scorecard. Grab your shades and catch the coastline craze from locations all over the country. It's the AVP Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. Tune in and catch all the hard-driving, fast-paced action that's taking the area by storm. Don't miss Metro Stars Soccer. Take a hard look at today's fast-moving sports world and the people who make the headlines. Bob Page hosts Page One. Plus, you can always catch the latest scores, stories, highlights, and area high school sports news on Coors Light MSG Sports Desk. It's all right at your fingertips. A great lineup of June sports action on MSG Network, the best in the game.
Back at the stadium, Mike Crispino along with Jim Cott. We have no score. It's an unusual Yankee-Mariner game. No home runs yet. And I know you haven't made your decision yet for the upcoming election, so here's a suggestion.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'll check with Junior tomorrow, see his stance on a number of issues. Flat tax, shorten the baseball season.
I like him.
You know, a few important things like that. And,
I'd like to know who his running mate's going to be first. Let's find if it's going to be Buhner, we'll have to reconsider it all. We all have to get those haircuts like Buhner has.
That'll be Junior in the Bone would be that ticket. That's Jay Buhner's nickname.
Catchy anyway. Edgar Martinez, who absolutely killed the Yankees last year in the playoffs. Again, hitting well to lead off the 4th. So Dwight Gooden, Jim, with the control problems, despite that, able to survive and thrown 3 shutout innings.
Yeah, now Scott Kamenicki said in Sunday's game that he was trying to throw strikes. He wasn't trying to nibble at the corners. It was just one of those days he did not have command of his pitches.
Of course, we heard that Joe Torre would talk to the pitchers about throwing strikes. Is that something like talking to someone about free throw shooting? The more you talk about it, the more trouble you have doing it?
Well, it can be, but you talk more about the approach.
Martinez pops it up on the infield, and his former teammate Tino retires Edgar for the first out in the 4th.
You know, free throws, they might talk about technique and what you have to do, far maybe relaxing. But in terms of throwing strikes, I think what Joe Torre wanted to get across to his staff is think about challenging early in the count. Trust your stuff. Here it is. Hit it if you can. And, hit the ball in the air enough off both pitchers tonight. 13 of the first 19 outs, flyouts.
The word that Joe Torre used before the game was aggressive.
See, for years, and it still goes on, is hitters give pitchers too much credit. Hitters go up to the plate and they say, you know, this guy's going to make that nasty pitch low and outside. And pitchers the same way. They say, I don't dare throw it over the middle. He's going to take me out of the ballpark.
There really are maybe one or two pitches almost in every at-bat that a hitter's going to have a good swing at, and that a pitcher's going to have you looking bad.
See, that was a good swing, and that pitch right down the middle. But if you throw it with the conviction, I'm going to dare you to hit it, I'm going to make you hit it, you'll have more success than nibbling.
Buhner swings and just chipped it back. 10 homers, 31 runs batted in. One of those former Yankees.
That was a high breaking ball that Buhner just missed. Curveball seems to be slipping out of Doc's hands. You mentioned it's cool enough to blow on the hand, and he's lost a couple of those curveballs that have slipped out.
Temperature 58 degrees when we began tonight. And he got him. Blew it by Jay Buhner. Second strikeout for Dwight Gooden.
And that's another fastball. Here it is, hit it if you can, and throws it right by him. Again, the hand coming out of the glove a little bit quicker. You see he's already breaking the hands, hides the ball well. And Doc's rhythm and tempo getting a little better here in the fourth inning.
Paul Sorrento to the plate with 2 down. It's amazing if this could continue and Gooden continue to pitch this way, what one small adjustment would really mean to him. Nobody wanted to take a chance on Dwight Gooden. And if he continues to pitch like this, the Yankees may have made a very risky move look good.
And we talked about it, and me particularly, I've talked to Doc about it, and he even shook his head in agreement at one time that maybe he should have gone to the minor leagues to start the season and gotten straightened out down there. But see, Mel Stottlemyre wouldn't have seen him down there to make the change. And if it weren't for the David Cone injury and subsequent surgery, Doc may never have had another opportunity to step in and do what he's doing.
Well, they say necessity is the mother of invention, and the Yankees may have stumbled on something here because of their shortage of arms. Melito Perez went down. That opened up something for Dwight Gooden as well back in spring. Pitch to Sorrento, is skied to right field. Einhorn out, O'Neill in, calling, making the catch. Dwight Gooden gets Seattle 3 up and 3 down in the fourth. He has not allowed a hit yet. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth in just a moment.
Who is the world's greatest fighter? Is it Ken the Rock Shamrock, the world super fight champion, or Dan the Beast Severn, the ultimate champion? Find out Friday, May 17th at the Ultimate Fighting Championship 9. The fight, Shamrock versus Severn. Who will wear the belt of the world's greatest fighter? The card, the battle of UFC champions Fry versus Huas, plus 4 more explosive fights. One night, 6 great matchups. Friday, May 17th, live on pay-per-view. UFC 9. Don't miss it.
It's amazing, but lots of homeowners didn't refinance their homes in 1993.
At the Money Store, you can refinance with just one phone call.
It's probably because people think they have to have perfect credit.
The Money Store Refinance. One loan, one payment.
We look for a way to pay off all those high-rate bills. The mortgage, the cards, all of them.
So you end up with one loan, one payment. Even if your credit is less than perfect, call the Money Store at 1-800-LOAN-YES. That's 1-800-LOAN-YES.
I love this building. It's had an extraordinary life of its own on the boardwalk. From its days as the grandest of the grand hotels of the 20s, to its years of service during World War II, to 1978 when it ushered in a whole new era. My Resorts has played center stage. But through all these years, one thing's never changed: outstanding service. That's why every time you visit Resorts, you'll find all 3,640 of us just waiting to make you happy.
The Yanks homestand continues against the Angels after AT&T Scorecard. Friday night on MSG.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody. Headed towards 8:36 at night. Overlooking the George Washington, and Yankee fans out in numbers tonight, Jim. Good weekday crowd at Yankee Stadium.
What a nice crowd, and an enthusiastic crowd.
Paul O'Neill to the plate to lead off against Sterling Hitchcock. There's a good look. They've been averaging around 20,000 midweek, but I think we've got a few more tonight. O'Neill leading the league batting average wise and on base average way up there. This pitch high and tight. Second time he's gone high and tight. Did that with Boggs as well.
Good idea when you've been traded from, in Hitchcock's case, the Yankees to the Mariners, and your buddies are comfortable, they're digging in. Just fire one up and in and say, I'm on the other team now. Don't dig in too deeply.
This one high, and it's 2-0. Sterling Hitchcock had some interesting comments when he left New York. He said, I'm not going to really miss that city. Costs you $4 to get across bridges. You live in a small little space for $2,000 a month. He likes Seattle. O'Neill rips it down the line. It's going to be in there. Buhner chases it down, makes a nice play, and he'll hold him to a single. Good defense by Jay Buhner, preventing extra bases.
You can get in there once, maybe twice against a good hitter, but you come in the same zone 3 times in a row with that fastball. You're not going to get that past Paul O'Neill. That's the 3rd time they tried to get inside on him with a heater. He was ready that time.
That's a good play by Jay Buhner. Short hopped it in the hole. Here's Ruben Sierra. Struck out his first time 20 times this year. Sierra in left field tonight. Not a bad idea for Joe Torre to have Ruben play left at night, because we know how difficult it can be in a bright sunny Saturday afternoon.
With the wind swirling.
Hitchcock delivers, grounded to short, big hop. And a 6-4-3 double play erases Paul O'Neill.
A rare ground out in tonight's game. Most of the balls have been in the air, but Hitchcock gets a sharply hit ground ball at the right time. Nice shovel toss to Cora. And the rest is easy. Sierra out by plenty. In fact, O'Neill had to slide 15 feet from the bag. That's how quickly the ball got to Rodriguez.
Tino Martinez against his former mates. Said before the game that it's over now. He really has no feelings left. Obviously enjoyed his time at Seattle, but he can't think about that now.
I think one of the things when you're traded is if you're traded to a ball club that you're happy about going to, and he really loves playing in New York, playing for the Yankees.
This pitch hit deep to right, but it's going to go foul in the upper deck, where there are a number of Yankee fans tonight. That's usually a good sign of a good-sized crowd when the upper deck has that many people in it.
And even broke his bat and got that one up to the upper deck. Dave Cohen and I were talking about it the early innings. There has been an awful lot of broken bats. And I don't know whether it's wood that's not mature yet that companies are forced into using. As we know, on the amateur level, they've gone to the metal bat, the aluminum bat, for financial reasons as well as a lack of good wood.
I like your tightly wound baseball theory. I think that's what's doing it. Pitch to Martinez is behind Dan Wilson. 3-1 to Tino Martinez with 2 out in the bottom of the 4th inning. No score. The Yankees have 3 hits. Seattle has none. Jim Leyritz has 1 of those 3 Yankee hits. (3-1) to Tino, grounded hard. Cora makes a nice backhand stab. And Sorrento with the stretch puts out Tino Martinez. 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the top of the 5th in a moment.
Maybe you've never been in an accident, but I bet your car's got airbags, right? And maybe your house has never burned down, but I bet you've got smoke detectors. You're prepared for everything, but I bet you don't have flood insurance. Truth is, floods damage as many homes as fires. Now flood insurance is easy to get from the National Flood Insurance Program. So protect yourself. Because many people think their homeowner's insurance will cover flood damage. It doesn't. Only flood insurance enables you to rebuild your life without having to go deep into debt. Floods can happen anywhere. Storms cause rivers to overflow. New construction can cause runoff. The ground gets saturated. Soon the rising water is at your door. With floods, you can never say never. Give yourself peace of mind. Call your insurance company, agent, or this toll-free number. The National Flood Insurance Program. We can't replace your memories, but we can help you build new ones.
One will be named the most beautiful woman in the universe. Live from Las Vegas with hosts Bob Goen and Marla Maples-Trump. The 45th Annual Miss Universe Pageant. Friday at 9 on CBS.
Acura is now offering $0 down on the 2.5 TL. It has the legendary quality of Acura with front-wheel drive, anti-lock brakes, climate control, a power moonroof, an alarm system, and an 8-speaker stereo with CD, just to mention a few. But best of all, you don't have to be rich to lease one. Tri-State Acura dealers, more than you dreamed for less than you thought.
To the top of the 5th we go. No score, Seattle and the Yankees. And the Yankee left fielder tonight with Doc Gooden on the mound is Ruben Sierra. Surprise start, his first there in left field. Joe Torre making that move. Tim Raines on the bench tonight. That was kind of a surprise to me that Tim Raines, I believe, is healthy and does not get a start tonight. But I guess Joe Torre wants to see what Sierra can do in the outfield.
Yeah, Tim has not been playing a lot against the left-hand pitching yet. And Ruben Sierra, he talked in spring training about wanting to play in the field a little bit more, so he's out there tonight.
Dan Wilson with 8 home runs. 9 is his career high. I remember talking to Lou Piniella last year when Seattle was in here about Wilson's hitting. And Lou, of course, one of the great hitters, was working with him to develop his hitting. And since they got serious about it, Wilson has upped his average. I don't know what these power numbers are legit this year or not, but he's been hitting the ball much, much better.
Well, I think another thing that happens to a player is when you become a regular, and Wilson is now the regular catcher, played in postseason play, you have a little more confidence. You relax at the plate, don't grip the bat quite as tightly, and production goes up.
2-1 count to the leadoff hitter. And the strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, in about 5 innings now, we've come from Chuck to Uncle Charlie, and we're getting close to Lord Charles. I mean, look at that. That's a little knee buckler.
Couldn't pull the trigger. Oops. 2-2, and he misses. One of the things Piniella talked about was getting Wilson to go with the pitch. Hit it to right when it's on the outside. Half of the plate instead of pulling it.
Which is what Lou Piniella did so well, especially late in his career. Great situational hitter.
This pitch grounded to Jeter. Throw on to Tino Martinez, and there's one away in the top of the 5th. Well, we talked to Joe Torre before the game and asked him when he came up with the decision to play Ruben Sierra in left tonight.
I told him Sunday, he's been working out there. He's still, still working out. And I just felt it was Ruben or Leyritz, and he's had more experience in the outfield than Jimmy has. Especially with Bernie out of the lineup, that I just wanted to try it. He wants to play the outfield, and I said, keep working on it. There'll be a time I'll put you out there, a time or two. But again, I still like you as my DH. But in this situation where it was either Leyritz or Ruben, it was an easy decision.
And there's Ruben, his first start in left. Joey Cora at the plate. It's a 1-1 count. Little left-hander came in at 227, now at 225 after grounding out. This one is popped up in the infield. Tino Martinez calling, and now Robert Einhorn calls him off, and there are 2 away. Well, what a bizarre weekend in Chicago. Drop balls, everything happened that could possibly happen. And then the Yankees coming back to win that game. And we talked about that Baltimore series where they came back twice, 1 in 15 innings, and that game, those might stand out down the road.
When you win games like that on the road, where you just figure you're at such a disadvantage, close games late, the other team hitting last, they stay with you. And we saw what the 2 wins in Baltimore did. The Yankees really built off those 2 and started out on a nice streak after that.
First of an 8-game homestand tonight against Seattle. Russell Davis, the former Yankee, There was a lot of conversation when the Yankees made that deal. They needed a first baseman when Don Mattingly said he wasn't coming back. Tino's a great hitter, good fielder. But these two guys, a lot of people think, are the future maybe for Seattle. It all remains to be seen. 2 strikes on Davis, 2 outs, the top of the 5th. And you can hear the crowd get behind Dwight Gooden.
In fact, that's a nice bit of timing by Doc. You know, he knows that that's what's going to happen, and he allows the crowd to get into it.
Throws him the fastball, and it's skied to right. Paul O'Neill in his tracks makes the catch. Dwight Gooden sets him down in order. That's 7 in a row now. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. No score at Yankee Stadium.
To some lenders, refinancing means just paying off your first mortgage.
At the money store, there are other options.
Credit cards, auto loans, and your mortgage. We often consolidate all of them to improve a homeowner's budget.
That's the money store difference. You not only lower the rate on your mortgage, but you also lower your total monthly payment. The Money Store Refinance. One loan, one payment. Call the Money Store at 1-800-LOAN-YES. That's 1-800-LOAN-YES.
We've been having our annual event at the same place for years. It's time for a change. Something exciting.
Like what? You're the creative team. Surprise me. What does he expect? Madison Square Garden?
Actually, the garden is perfect. They have great food, great service, and they can handle groups up to 20,000.
Planning a special event? Call 212-465-6080.
Madison Square Garden.
Perfect.
Life's full of challenges. Drive a car you can depend on. The Nissan Sentra. Now lease the Nissan Sentra GXE for $0 down and $199 a month for 39 months.
While a brother may be hard to propel, the Hoover Power Drive is self-propelled, making cleaning so easy, even a brother can do it.
Hoover, nobody does it like you.
Mike Crispino and Jim Cott back for the bottom of the 5th inning at Yankee Stadium. The king of the bleachers no longer with us. Al Ramirez, having passed away, being remembered there. And the funeral today.
One of the great bleacher fans with the cowbell out in the right field bleachers that he always had with him.
The bleachers packed tonight in right field. As Hitchcock throws ball 1.
Ring that bell. That was his expression with that cowbell that Allie had out in the bleachers, and all of the fans out there remember it.
Leyritz lines it up the middle. Koroff one hop off the wrong foot and makes a nice play. Joey Cora's made a couple of outstanding plays defensively tonight behind Sterling Hitchcock.
Yeah, most of the ground balls have been hit his direction. There's an off-balance throw and a nice pick on the other end by Sorrento. Just unloads it and hopes that it gets somewhere near Sorrento, and he does the rest.
Gerald Williams to hit second in the inning. He's had some awesome numbers for the Yankees. You saw the batting average. He takes a strike on the curveball. 23 of his last 42 hits for extra bases. Now that's power.
Looks like his hands have become a little quieter at the plate. Not as much movement.
That pitch taken for ball 1. It's 1-1.
That will usually help you keep your head a little steadier and see the ball better.
Hitchcock working quickly and throws ball 2. That motion of Hitchcock's when he hits his right knee with his glove, I don't remember that last year. Do you remember that?
Don't know that I can't say that I do remember. You know, a lot of pitchers do that on their way down. They'll make some contact. It's kind of like he bounces it back up in the air.
It reminds me of Billie Jean King's service toss. She used to hit her left thigh on the way down to measure her toss up. That was one of the first people I ever saw that do that in tennis. I haven't seen this much in baseball. Here's Hitchcock's pitch at 3-1.
The White Sox have an advanced scout, Bart Johnson, former right-hand pitcher in the major leagues, who, and there it will. You can see Sterling just bounce that glove and ball off his thigh.
Gerald Williams takes it low for ball 4 on a 3-2 pitch, and the Yankees have a runner.
Yeah, as soon as he gets in the motion, this is what Mike is talking about right there. See, it is as soon as it hit the hip, the glove and the hand just bounced up. Bart Johnson used to kick. He used to kick up into his glove, use his left foot and kick into the pocket of his glove. A lot of ways to do it, and that windup is really the only thing you're doing is trying to create a little rhythm and motion going toward home plate.
Robert Einhorn at the plate with 1 down and Gerald Williams at first. Einhorn's had his troubles offensively. Is that a timing mechanism with Hitchcock, or is that
I'm
the rhythm?
sure it is.
What is that?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's just a way to kind of keep his weight back. See, Gerald lifting his head. He wanted another look at the sign. This would be a steal situation. Yeah, I don't know the last time first and third with Einhorn in the batter's box whether Gerald got the sign or missed it or just went on his own. But get down near the bottom of the order, scoreless game, and Gerald's speed. You would expect Joe Torre to do some running during this at bat.
1 away, 0-1 count to Robert Einhorn. Gerald Williams at first. Pitch taken, and it's 1-1. It just seemed strange in that previous second inning when Gerald took off. He almost expected there to be no throw, it seemed.
Yeah, usually if that's a set play, you run down there and you get caught in the rundown, go back to first base and hope that the other team throws it away and the guy on third scores.
Hitchcock sends him back. Maybe Michael Kay can discover what happened there on the clubhouse report following the game. It's a scoreless game, bottom of the 5th inning, and items like that can be important. Pitch out. Oh, Williams got caught. Wilson runs at him. Now Rodriguez, and he's around it. He eluded the tag, but he went out of the baseline. Call made by Larry Barnett.
Yeah, Piniella guessed right. You saw the signal from Dan Wilson. The 4 fours go down. That's the Mariner pitch out. And even though Sorrento did not make contact with Williams, you see the crew chief Larry Barnett say, nope, you went out of the line to avoid the tag. You're out.
2 away now, so 2 Gerald Williams miscues on the base paths.
Well, that was really just a good play on the part of the Mariners.
Two pitch to Einhorn. He held up. Larry Barnett agreeing with Dan Morrison's call. 3-2, 2 outs.
Looked like the splitter that Einhorn laid off.
Fouls this one back to stay alive at 3-2. Hitchcock's had success in terms of batting average by opposition right-hand hitters, just .235 last year, but he gave up a lot of home runs to righties. So they weren't hitting him percentage-wise, but were able to hit it out of the yard. The 3-2 pitch is fouled back.
See the aggressive swings that Einhorn's having now. The 2-2 pitch, they threw a breaking ball. There's another subtle little change in a pitching approach. You usually figure guys down at the bottom of the lineup are not good hitters. You throw them a lot of fastballs and just dare them to hit it. Once it gets to 3-2, he knows it's coming.
And Einhorn gets a piece of it again.
And he has 3 good aggressive swings. He said, here I am, man. part-time second baseman. Derek Jeter hitting next. They're not going to throw me a breaking ball, so you dig in and rip at it.
3-2 again with 2 outs. And Hitchcock misses.
That's a good at-bat by Einhorn, and Lou Piniella, I know, is disappointed in that. I have a feeling he's going to say, what in the world were you throwing that guy a breaking ball on 2-2 for, and even going to the full count? And now they have to face Derek Jeter. After 3 good swings by Einhorn, Hitchcock misses with that one.
Now, was he talking to Dan Wilson, do you think, or the pitcher that time? Lou was kind of glaring out, or maybe he was talking to the home plate umpire.
No, I think it's probably his catcher or his pitcher.
Hitchcock throws and sends Einhorn back, so the caught stealing a moment ago keeps the Yankees from having a man in scoring position. Doc Gooden, Kenny Rogers talking it over as they watch Sterling Hitchcock work to Derek Jeter. And he catches the inside corner.
I would figure Joe Torre would want to gamble with Einhorn. I don't know if I'd call it a gamble. Just send Einhorn here too, because if he were to get thrown out, Derek Jeter represents a pretty good leadoff hitter for the Yankees in the next inning.
Well, one pitch is swung on and missed. Well, Dan Wilson's had great success this year throwing runners out, almost 50%. So it has not been easy to steal bases.
Yeah, it's just a situation, even now with 0-2. I mean, the Mariners might pitch out, or if you're looking for a curve in the dirt, you just send Einhorn and see what happens, even though Wilson is a good thrower.
Joe Torre did it earlier in the game with Jim Leyritz and picked up an extra base. They pitch out. They thought Einhorn was going that time.
Yeah, I think he may have had the sign. He took a break, but I think Hitchcock's move froze him. Jose Cardinal in the picture right now saying a couple of words to him.
1-2 count with 2 outs. And he's punched out. The inside corner, the strikeout by Sterling Hitchcock. He's matched Dwight Gooden. 5 zeros in a row. We have no score. I'll be back in the post-game report. Dave Cohen returns in a moment.
Hi, everybody. During our Doc Gooden replay, Bob Page with a live update from the MSG Sports Desk. The Yankees may have been off today, but they made some huge news off the field nonetheless. The Yanks purchased the contract of 24-year-old pitcher Katsuhiro Maeda from the Japanese major leagues. He has a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and had been the subject of intense interest from a number of American major league teams. The Yankees won and will start Maeda, who has orange-dyed hair, out at Oneonta in upstate New York. At San Diego today, Todd Hundley delivers his solo homer in the second inning off Joey Hamilton, his 9th. 1-0 Mets, who never trailed again. They beat the Padres 6-3 to salvage the final game of the 4-game set. Pete harnessed the victory. Mets at San Francisco this weekend. Hockey tonight, St. Louis and Detroit scoreless as they play midway through the second period. Don't forget our full half-hour edition of the MSG Sports Desk at 10:30 tonight. Back to Yankees replay in a moment.
Who is the world's greatest fighter? Is it Ken the Rock Shamrock, the world super fight champion, or Dan the Beast Severn, the ultimate champion? Find out Friday, May 17th at the Ultimate Fighting Championship 9. The fight, Shamrock versus Severn. Who will wear the belt of the world's greatest fighter? The card, the battle of UFC champions Fry versus Huas, plus 4 more explosive fights. One night, 6 great matchups. Friday, May 17th, live on pay-per-view. UFC 9. Don't miss it.
Not a lot of action here at the stadium from an offensive standpoint. The pitcher's been in control. No score after 5 innings. Gooden and Hitchcock in command of this. Dave Cohen back with me now. And I know it's the kind of game you enjoy.
I love it, especially because they have the New York Pretzels debuting again in the press box. What a great pitcher's doing.
Making me hungry. Doc Gooden, he's not thrown a lot of first pitch strikes. Did right there, but he has been able to come back and get the big outs. In fact, the last 2 innings, Doc has only thrown 25 pitches in the last 2 innings after struggling a little early on. That fastball right at Tino and off his glove, hop into the stands. And Darren Bragg is going to be awarded a ground rule double unless we'll see there. And it is scored generously for Bragg, or for Tino rather, because this ball was smoked.
Yeah, but he didn't have to move very far. All he had to do was get the glove down, and he didn't get the glove, and right off his chest.
Yeah, I guess that's right. That is an error in terms of if Tino could have just gotten over there and knocked it down, he would have had plenty of time to run to the bag. So it scored an error, and when it bounced into the stands, Bragg awarded second base. So the Mariners have a threat here in the 6th inning as Alex Rodriguez steps in and does the proper thing. Good fundamental baseball, a productive out as the young shortstop. He'll get a nice going from Lou Piniella when he returns to the dugout, because that advances Bragg to third.
Wow, now a real challenge coming up for Dwight Gooden. The Yankees will bring the infield in with a runner at third and one man out, and Gooden struck him out last time, so this will be a terrific one-on-one battle.
Joe Torre sensing the low-scoring game. No score in the 6th is going to bring the infield in with Ken Griffey Jr. at the plate. And I think that what goes into the thinking here also is Doc Gooden is a fly ball or strikeout pitcher. So you gamble and bring your infield in, say if he does hit a ground ball, maybe it will be at one of our infielders and we'll get a shot of throwing the runner out at home as Bragg takes his lead. Good curveball, and it's 1-1.
I think tonight Dwight has had his best fastball of the year as a Yankee. And his curveball, he didn't have it at the beginning, but as the game has gone on, it's become sharper and sharper.
Which is typical of Doc. The deeper he gets into the game. John McLaren, the third base coach, giving some instruction to Darren Bragg. And that curve is in 1-2. Well, they struck him out on a high blazer. They've got that thought in the kid's mind. The crowd getting into it now. Good hook.
They're rising like the 15th round of a heavyweight fight.
Woo! Tried to get him to chase the high fastball again. That was how Griffey struck out in his previous at-bat. It's 2-2.
It's almost like the electricity of the crowd is plugged into you. You reach back for a little extra.
Just off the inside corner. And the count is full. Got him again. Big strikeout for Gooden.
No rest now for the weary as he fans Gooden for the second time. Girardi wanted the fastball away. That's what he got. And Griffey chased and could not catch up to it. There are some people among the Mariners who think that, although he hasn't admitted it, that he may be favoring that injured wrist a little bit this year.
And there is a doctor in the house. Mel Stottlemyre happy about that, encouraging Doc Gooden to get one more out here. And as tough as Junior might be, the guy in the batter's box is tougher. Ripped center field. Gerald on the run. Puts it away. Another nice running catch. Good pitching. Good fielding. And the Yankees shut down the Mariners in the top of the 6th. A good one going here at the stadium. Still no score.
You've spent your entire life sleeping in an old-fashioned flat bed, but now you have the opportunity to find out about a better, healthier way to relax and sleep. Get this free information kit about Craftmatic adjustable beds. Call toll-free and a helpful operator will mail you a free Craftmatic adjustable bed catalog and this special rebate certificate. It's worth $200 off any Craftmatic Model 1 adjustable bed. Why is Craftmatic making this rebate offer? It's our way of saying thanks for taking the time to find out about Craftmatic. There is, of course, absolutely no obligation for calling toll-free and requesting this helpful information kit. So if you have any interest in adjustable beds, pick up your phone and call now.
Call toll-free 1-800-348-9800. That's 1-800-348-9800. Toll-free 1-800-348-9800.
In the tradition of history's greatest fights.
Oh, a great left hook there.
Leonard comes the battle for ultimate glory. Mexico's legendary champion, Julio Cesar Chavez, faces America's golden boy, Oscar De La Hoya. Live from Caesar's Palace. The biggest fight ever.
Brought to you by Budweiser.
Exclusive live bouts begin at Madison Square Garden at 7 p.m.
One will be named the most beautiful woman in the universe. Live from Las Vegas with hosts Bob Goen and Marla Maples-Trump. The 45th annual Miss Universe pageant. Friday at 9 on CBS.
Back at the stadium, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. All the home runs these two ball clubs hit last year, and tonight it's pitching. Gerald Williams, who's been sparkling in the field, has been on base twice tonight. There's the running waist-high catch that he makes to end the top of the 6th inning. But in his 2 appearances on the bases, he's been thrown out. Willie Randolph, third base coach, talked with Gerald a little bit between innings.
There's Mariano Duncan next to him now. By the way, Mariano could come back to action as early as next Tuesday, and he might be sent out on a rehab assignment later this week.
Wade Boggs up and in for a ball. Wade flied out to center. That seems to be the out du jour. There's the conversation. Gerald telling Willie what he did, and then Willie said, no, that's not what I want you to do. In for a strike. Boy, Hitchcock has a good live fastball. Well, Willie might be telling him, you broke too soon on the hit and run, or maybe it was a miss sign, but Willie's doing the talking, Gerald's doing the listening. Good breaking ball. 1 and 2. After all the runs in Chicago, the top 2 pitching staffs in the American League from an earned run average standpoint, the Yankees and the White Sox, and 36 runs were scored in 3 games. Two and 2.
Dan Wilson moved way outside before that pitch. And Hitchcock has impressed me tonight with his fastball. And he's working quicker, I think, than we saw him work in the past as a Yankee.
A lot more confidence. And Boggs out to left field. Bragg will have to play it on a hop. Wade has his second hit of the night. The Yankees have 3 and a leadoff base runner here in the 6th. Well, the Mariners got Darren Bragg to second base with nobody out in the top of this inning, and combination of Gooden's pitching and Gerald Williams' leather. Mariners didn't score. Here's Joe Girardi, and he can bunt. He can hit the ball the other way. Joe Torre can pick a couple of options. And Boggs, not a threat to steal, has none, but the Mariners aware of what the Yankees might try to do, so Wade's job here would be to take a conservative lead and not get picked off. And Girardi takes a shot to right, fouls it straight back.
Yeah, Joe Girardi very adept at hitting the ball to the right side, but you can see Wilson was setting up inside to try to bring the ball in on the hands of Girardi.
And I think what Joe Torre may have been thinking there, if the Mariners are looking for a bunt, you throw the high fastball. I'll give him one swing, and he got the high fastball, fouled it straight back. Wouldn't surprise me to see Joe Torre turn right around. They want the throw to first base. They want to, even though they know Boggs will not steal, they want to check and see if Girardi gives any indication that he might bunt. And I wouldn't be surprised if he would bunt right here after swinging at the first pitch.
Wow, Girardi asked for time at the last minute. You can see how anxious he's working.
Yeah, you get into that little waggle as a hitter, and you're trying to time the pitcher's motion. And then when the pitcher takes too much time, you just say, I want time out, and the home plate umpire's job is to protect the hitter, and he did. And he does bunt, and he fouls it straight back, 0-2.
Tough pitch to bunt. A fastball up and in on Joe Girardi, who's a very good bunter, but Hitchcock did his job, perhaps sensing that that would be the Yankee strategy. Here it is.
So now Girardi's mission with the count 0-2 would be to try to make some contact and slap it the other way to the right side. Hit well center field. Griffey on the run. Will have to play it on a hop. And Boggs with a good piece of base running. Boggs had to make a decision because Griffey gave you the appearance that he was going to catch the ball right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Wade went halfway, had a sense that ball might drop in front of Griffey, and he was not deked out. He had a inkling that ball would fall in, and it did. We had a great angle to see it. That ball hung right over the right center field area, right over Boggs' head.
As a base runner, you make up your mind one way or the other. If you think he's going to catch it, you just hang back and you're an out at second base, but don't get caught in between. And Boggs made the aggressive decision. He got very close to second base, and after it fell in, got there easily. So first and second, nobody out, as Hitchcock gave Girardi a little too much of a hittable pitch on 0-2, and that'll bring get Mike Jackson into action. Action Jackson. They have consistently tried to run that fastball in on O'Neill's hands, and he caught up with one the last time. Paul's average with men in scoring position not up to his season average, and Louis Piniella sees something he wants to talk to Hitchcock about.
Well, oftentimes the first trip to the mound will be the pitching coach. Lou Piniella is out there, not Bobby Cuellar. He's talking mostly with his catcher.
Well, just in case, I don't know if the Mariners threw that pitch up and in thinking that O'Neill might be bunting, but of course Lou knows Paul O'Neill pretty well from his Cincinnati days also, where he managed him. So
now talking with shortstop Alex Rodriguez.
Might be saying, look, we've been coming inside there, inside in Yankee Stadium. If you don't make a perfect pitch, you're rubbing up a new one oftentimes. And they might say, look, let's go back away from him, make him hit it the other way. Good curveball. 1-1. If you joined us late, it's been a great duel between former Yankee Sterling Hitchcock and Doc Gooden, is pitched well again for the fourth consecutive start. O'Neill waggling the bat, trying to time Hitchcock's motion. Curveball ripped fair. Nice play, Sereno. Can he get it? By a step. Saved a pair of runs, but O'Neill advances the runners, and he can't believe it. He wants to stay on first base.
Well, here it is. Watch this. Right down the line. The right-handed fielding Sereno will get over, and with the extension makes the ball. Now the race is to the bag. Hitchcock, who is not a great fielding pitcher, gets there. O'Neill goes to the slide. Usually you lose a little bit in terms of speed when you go to the slide. And watch the footwork. Clearly Hitchcock got there, but that shot, which goes 3-1, moves the runners to second and third with one out.
And that is a big play for a number of reasons, because now the Mariners will walk Sierra, the right-hand hitter. And they'll take a shot at Tino Martinez, but this is not your normal lefty against lefty percentage. Lou Pinella's setting up a play at every base, but Tino, during his Mariner days when Hitchcock was a Yankee, was 4 for 6, and he's hit the ball sharply at second baseman Joey Cora tonight. So we have, Dave, in this first meeting of the two teams, an early battle of the trade in a pressure situation here.
So Ruben gets the intentional walk. That's about the 6th one this year already for Ruben Sierra.
Tino 0 for 2, and both at bats he's hit the ball on the ground to Joey Cora. That's what Hitchcock would like to get here, and the fans, as they were for Gooden on the pitching mound, are up again. They love this rivalry. In the air to center, and it's deep enough to get the run home. Girardi advancing to third. He'll make it. Boggs scores, and the Yankees take a 1-0 lead. 26th RBI for Martinez.
Designated hitter, Jim Leyritz.
Well, Tino needed just one pitch to take care of business and get the first run of this game home with the fly ball to fairly deep center field. And the former Seattle Mariner breaks this scoreless game, breaks the ice in this game with a run number 1 on the sacrifice fly. Griffey's throw now to third base as Boggs tags, makes sure the catch is made before he comes home. Griffey made a throw to third, but still moving over to third on the play.
So the lefties have done the damage tonight against left-hander Sterling Hitchcock. Boggs has a pair of hits and has scored the only run, and Tino Martinez has driven it in. Here's Leyritz. He's got a single, and there's runners at the corners. Low for a ball.
The Yankees have good speed, at least at third base, with Joe Girardi there.
Curveball in for a strike. This would in all probability be Hitchcock's last man. Gerald Williams, a right-hand hitter, is due up next, and Mike Jackson is ready in the bullpen.
That was the 100th pitch that Hitchcock just threw to Jim Leyritz.
Just off the inside edge, 2-1. Sterling started out the year with 4 very solid starts, went 3-1. His last 4 not quite as effective, but he has been sharp tonight. High for a ball, 3-1, and that is what we saw a lot from Hitchcock last year. Is with men on base, he tends to pay a lot of attention to base runners, not pick up the target quickly enough, and as he's done here to Leyritz, fall behind on the count, 3-1. Off-speed pitch, and the count is full. Good pitch by Hitchcock, with Leyritz looking fastball all the way.
Boy, this took some guts to throw. He kind of turned it over, changeup, and Leyritz way out ahead of it.
Sorrento will move back of Sierra, and Ruben will get a head start with the 3-2 2-out count. Ripped. Base hit left field. Girardi scores. Yankees lead it 2-0. 15th RBI for Leyritz. And Pinella's going to the mound.
Yeah, batter too late. As Leyritz gets the back rub from Jose Cardinal. Jim Leyritz 1 for 17 coming in. He picked up a single earlier in this game, and here he is now with an even bigger hit Clean shot through the hole between short and third base. Got the fastball right out over the middle of the plate. Single to left, run batted in, and Sterling Hitchcock now will depart. The former Yankee leaving on the short end of this 2-0 score, responsible for the other 2 runners on base.
5 2/3 pitching by Sterling Hitchcock, just allowing 2 runs so far. Back after these messages.
Hello, I'm Rod Gilbert, and I'd like to invite you to join Brad Park, Brian Mullen, and others at the first Rod Gilbert New York Rangers Adult Hockey Fantasy Camp, right here at the beautiful Sky Rink at Chelsea Piers in Manhattan.
You'll take the ice with former NHL greats for instruction, game competition, and skills demonstrations. Off the ice, you'll enjoy private hospitality functions and autograph sessions. Lace them up and join us June 7th through 9th.
Before cars had phones, cup holders, or even roofs, Mobil Oil was there. When Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic, Mobil was on board. Mobil was in the world's first minivans, in the first space shuttle, and in the tanks of Desert Storm. So if you think that all oils are alike, think about something. At Mobil, we've been changing oil for over 125 years.
To some lenders, refinancing means just paying off your first mortgage.
At the money store, there are other options.
Credit cards, auto loans, and your mortgage. We often consolidate all of them to improve a homeowner's budget.
That's the money store difference. You not only lower the rate on your mortgage, but you also lower your total monthly payment. The money store refinance. 1 loan, 1 payment. Call the money store at 1-800-LOAN-YES. That's 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Back at the stadium, 2 down, bottom of the 6th. Yankees have taken a 2-0 lead. A decent job by Sterling Hitchcock, and to his left, Chris Bosio, tomorrow night's starting pitcher. But the Yankees with 3 big singles, and Paul O'Neill with what looked like a double ripped down the right field line. But a great play by Sorrento has kept this from being even a bigger inning for the Yankees. And Doc Gooden, in his 4th consecutive effective outing, has held the Mariners scoreless through 6. There's Mike Jackson.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. Pitched last season with Cincinnati. Has also been with Philadelphia in the mid-'80s, with the Giants, with Seattle. He's Seattle's all-time ERA leader. 2nd time around with Seattle.
You saw the hits per inning, 20 hits in 16 innings. That's unlike Mike Jackson. Gerald steps in, and that is what you see a lot of from Mike Jackson. One slider right after another. He usually contains right-hand hitters rather well, and most of you, of course, aware of the injury to Bernie Williams, so Joe Torre not about to make any changes right now.
Yeah, that slider somewhat reminiscent of Jeff Nelson's, but obviously not as sweeping or from as severe an angle as Nelson, but it can be tough on right-handers. But Gerald's done a better job this year against the hard-throwing righties.
There it is again, in for a strike. 0-2. Right-handers hitting just 175 against veteran Mike Jackson. Quiet bat. And he reaches to the slider and hits the soft liner to Alex Rodriguez. Looked for a moment like Gerald might have enough on it. So Jackson gets the last out. Hitchcock, after 5 2/3, allows 2 runs. And after 6, the Yankees behind the doctor, lead it by a pair.
A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden. Grab a seat and hold on tight. Don't miss all the fast-paced, hard-driving action of Metro Star Soccer, the real deal. Next Friday night on MSG.
The best in the game.
Gene, catch it right here.
The Yanks homestand continues against the Angels after AT&T Scorecard. Friday night on MSG.
The fans start pouring in. You can sense the Knicks will win. In the capital of the world, where the New York Rangers team achieves their greatest dream. It's the world's most famous arena, where rock stars do their thing. It's boxing's greatest dream. It's the magic of the Garden, the world's most famous arena.
Focus in on the numbers. The Yankees are leading Seattle 2-0, and Dwight Gooden on the left will face Jay Buhner to begin the 7th inning. Let's go back to the 4th inning. Gooden pitching against Buhner. Fastball strike 1. Hanging curve strike 2. Fastball, he couldn't catch it. He was a strikeout victim in the 4th inning. Now to the top of the 7th, where the Yankees leading Seattle 2-0.
Boy, we could have a pine tar controversy here. Look how far up the barrel he's got that stuff. That's George Brett territory.
And the doctor with a sharp breaking pitch in the dirt.
Must have a high trademark. Not supposed to have pine tar above the trademark.
2 balls and no strikes. Was it a certain amount of inches from either the top or the bottom of the bat where you were allowed to have the pine tar?
I think it has to stay below the label, the trademark.
Good misses. 3-0 to Jay Buhner beginning the 7th inning. Gooden began this game with a couple of walks in the 1st inning.
Stoudemire going to get some action in the Yankee bullpen.
Dwight has walked 4, and the 3-0 is taken for a strike by Buhner. Last couple of innings, Dwight Gooden was cruising. Mariano Rivera, another hard thrower, gets up and will be getting ready. Bouncing ball is short. Jeter waits and throws right on the money. 1 away.
Well, that's a nice comeback by Doc Gooden. It's so important to get that first out. Falls behind 3-0, comes back and gets Buhner on a ground out. There's Doc with the splitter, which we don't see too often, or the changeup. He's still basically a fastball curveball. That's kind of a special grip on the knuckle curve, but Doc will stick fastball overhand curve.
Now he gets the first pitch over to Paul Sereno. Sereno has a walk, and he flied out to Paul O'Neill in right field. Same pitch, same location, same result. Gooden has had excellent command of his fastball.
Right on target to Joe Girardi.
Now the 10th man comes into play again. The crowd behind Doc Gooden. Sereno wasn't biting of that one. Ball and 2 strikes. Sereno stepping out of the box. Gooden's ready to pitch already. He got the ball standing right on the rubber, was set to go, and they want to hang up that K.
You can get those first 2 called. It's a little tougher to get a called strike 3.
Bouncing ball. Martinez will field and go to the bag by himself, and he retires Paul Sereno. 2 away in the 7th. A very efficient Dwight Gooden.
Yeah, he continues to get the hand out of the glove quicker. And you really can't tell from Doc's motion whether it's the 1st inning or the 7th. He is pretty consistent with that good hip turn. It's just that his rhythm and tempo, you mentioned he's working at a little faster pace, seem to get better and quicker as the game wears on.
Nice sharp pitch and a swing and a miss by Dan Wilson.
There's the overhand hook.
Wilson, the Seattle catcher, gets the same pitch, and Gooden gets strike 2. Up again to their collective feet. Joe Girardi stopping that one. Nobody's on base. 2 outs here in the 7th inning.
You could sit outside Yankee Stadium and tell what was going on just by the crowd with Doc Gooden on the mound.
One of those classic roars tonight, going up time and time again. Popped up. Actually carrying well. Gerald's under it, and that is the final out of the 7th inning. So Doc Gooden leaves the mound. The Seattle Mariners got no runs and no hits in the 7th. We're going to the bottom of the 7th, and they're up, stretching and applauding.
While a brother may be hard to propel, the Hoover Power Drive is self-propelled, making cleaning so easy, even a brother could do it.
Hoover, nobody does it like you.
Who is the world's greatest fighter? Is it Ken the Rock Shamrock, the world super fight champion, or Dan the Beast Severn, the ultimate champion? Find out Friday, May 17th at the Ultimate Fighting Championship 9. The fight, Shamrock versus Severn. Who will wear the belt of the world's greatest fighter? The card, the battle of UFC champions Fry versus Huas, plus 4 more explosive fights. One night, 6 great matchups. Friday, May 17th, live on pay-per-view. UFC 9. Don't miss it.
So why did you leave AT&T?
I fell for the gimmicks.
And?
I'm disappointed.
I miss AT&T. AT&T misses you too. So we're making it easy to come back.
Anything that makes my life easier, I'm for it.
How does up to 100 free AT&T minutes sound?
I like free minutes.
We'll send you AT&T long distance certificates good for up to 100 free minutes. Just for switching back to AT&T.
100 free minutes, I'm there.
There's more. Only AT&T customers can get AT&T True Reach savings. Spend $25 a month and you save 25% to anyone, anytime, anywhere in the U.S. You're covered on every type of call on your AT&T phone bill.
What more could you ask for?
How about this? AT&T puts your savings in black and white.
What have I got to do to come back to you guys?
All you have to do is call 1-800-GET-TRUE, and you'll get up to 100 free AT&T minutes. So, what do you think?
I think we'll switch.
Good decision.
Thank you.
You know what to do.
That's your true choice, AT&T.
New York Yankees baseball is being brought to you by Toyota. I love what you do for me, Toyota. There's Dwight Gooden heading to the Yankee dugout after pitching the 7th inning and setting down Seattle in order. Andy Fox, you see there in your picture, getting the call. And
well, as you might expect if you followed what's going on in tonight's game, nobody is going to say a whole lot to Doc Gooden. He's doing quite well by himself, thank you.
Andy Fox will pitch hit here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The left-handed batter facing the right-handed pitcher will be batting for Robert Einhorn. Mike Jackson pitching from the stretch at all times, and he delivers the fastball for strike 1. So Andy Fox will go into the game and play second base, replacing Robert Einhorn.
Well, you should always run hard, play the game hard, but no better example of that than Andy Fox's effort on Sunday when the Yankees came back from being down 8-0. And like Joe Torre said, when you're not hitting well, you better run extra hard. And Andy, who has had his average under 200, hit a routine ground ball to Frank Thomas and ran so hard that when Thomas got over to the bag, he checked the runner at third and reached for the bag, missed it with his foot. That was a big play in that game.
Slowly fielded by Jackson. His throw is right on the money to Paul Sereno. Andy Fox has been doing a lot of that, getting the ball just to kind of dribble off his back to the left side.
Jackson off the mound quickly to make the routine play, but again you see Andy Fox running hard all the way, even on that little dribbler, only out by a stride.
Andy from Northern California, and here's Derek Jeter without a hit in this game. Jackson brings this slider over the inside corner, strike 1.
It's such a sharp breaking slider that even when you hang it like he did on that pitch, it's still effective. That's Tim Davis crafty left-hander getting loose.
Jeter hung it, nearly got hit. Ball and a strike. I would imagine it's tough to pick up the ball coming out of Jackson's hand on some of his deliveries. Looks like he varied it a little bit that time. Didn't have quite the leg kick. 2-1. Bounce fair. Davis behind the bag. Quick release. Not held on to by Sorrento. Boy, Russ Davis did everything he could to field it and get rid of it in a hurry. And he made a perfect throw, but Sorrento couldn't hold on.
You got to it quickly, and there's the quick release. He knows Derek Jeter is running, and Russ gets a lot on that throw. And Sorrento, actually, if Paul has enough time to shift his feet, he could have gotten it out on that ball. The first baseman runs over and gets to the bag and tries to find this part of the bag right over here. Let's see, Sorrento's foot is back there. As a result, can't quite stretch quite as far and hang on to the ball.
Well, they score that a base hit for Derek Jeter, and now Wade Boggs bats. Yankees 2 and the Mariners nothing. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Boggs has a couple of base hits already. He has 14 multiple hit games. Wilson moved out. Jackson hit the target.
When you see a play like that, and Paul Sorrento's in there, he's made a great play in tonight's game, but he's in there for his home run bat. But you really appreciate the deft footwork of a lot of classy first basemen. Of course, Yankee fans got a chance to watch one here for years in Don Mattingly. The scoring decision reminds me of we need to send along good wishes to Red Foley, who is usually the official scorer here at Yankee Stadium. Red, we hope you're resting comfortably at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. He underwent some surgery today and hope you're back soon.
That's where David Cohn is still hospitalized, and he might be getting out in the next day or two. Bob Watson said when he does get out, he'll be here, and he wants to talk to the troops.
Maybe they're watching the game together and talking a little baseball.
1 out, 1 on. 2-1 to Boggs. Lifted in the air to center field where Griffey will camp under it. Twice in the game now, Boggs is flying out to center field to go along with his 2 base hits. 2 outs here in the Yankee 7th, and Joe Girardi will be coming up next.
Looking at Willie Randolph, wants to see once if the steal sign is on. If it is, Joe will take a pitch or two. And I would think it would be. Maybe not on the first pitch, but at some point during this sequence of pitches.
It's been an adventurous night for the Yankees on the base paths, particularly Gerald Williams. Good size lead, and a fake and a foul ball at the plate. Jeter started, stopped, and then the ball was fouled.
Yeah, Girardi's seen Mike Jackson in the National League, and here's the bluff start. Derek just breaking and then stopping and reading the ball off the bat, but Girardi knows Mike Jackson and how tough he is on right-handers. Boy, that fastball just bears in on your fists, and then the sharp slider going away from you.
Jackson is 31, but he's a veteran of 10 major league seasons. Well traveled, and Derek Jeter just 21. Jeter stolen 3, been caught twice. He bluffs again. And the pitch is low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bottom of the 7th with 2 outs and the Yankee runner at first. 2-0 Yankees. First game of this homestand, the Yankees have won the first games of every series this season at home. That pitch rode inside, and the count now to Joe Girardi. He's 2 balls and a strike. Signed man Willie Randolph. Long wait for Girardi at the plate as Jackson looks in and Jeter leads off.
If Joe Torre sticks to his usual approach, this is a count that he loves to send the runner. 3-1. Unless you're a real home run threat like Sierra or O'Neill, but you figure the pitcher has to throw a strike.
There goes, and the pitch is high, ball 4. So yes, Joe did stick to his trend, and Joe Girardi takes the walk. That gives the Yankees 2 on with 2 outs.
And Lou Piniella will take a walk with left-hander Paul O'Neill coming up. He will go to his bullpen and in all probability bring in left-hander Tim Davis. Mariners gave up a lot of their bullpen from last year's team. They've added some quality in Mike Jackson, but Jeff Nelson's here in New York. Bill Risley in Toronto on the disabled list. Bobby Ayala is on the disabled list with a broken hand. So they gave up a lot out of the bullpen from last year.
And Bobby Ayala's injury apparently self-inflicted in a fit of rage or something.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Reportedly punched a window, cut his hand up. So he's unavailable, and Tim Davis is coming in. And we'll be coming back to Yankee Stadium on MSG right after this.
It's amazing, but lots of homeowners didn't refinance their homes in 1993.
At the Money Store, you can refinance with just one phone call.
It's probably because people think they have to have perfect credit.
The Money Store Refinance. One loan, one payment.
We look for a way to pay off all those high-rate bills. The mortgage, the cards, all of them.
So you end up with one loan, one payment. Even if your credit is less than perfect, call the Money Store at 1-800-LOAN-YES. That's 1-800-LOAN-YES.
When the fans start pouring in, you can sense the next win. In the capital of the world's most famous arena. It's the world's most famous ring. It's where Big Bird does his thing. It's the capital of the world. It's where the New York Rangers team achieves their greatest dream. It's the fiercest jam of all, the meanest fighting volleyball, where the big top's twice as big. Greatest show on earth. And the rock stars come to win. It's the capital of the world. It's the magic of the garden, Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, the world's most famous arena.
This copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and Madison Square Garden Network is prohibited. Tim Davis is the new Seattle pitcher, the slim left-hander from Florida, 5'11", 165 pounds. Last season appeared in only 7 games, then was done for the year after surgery in July.
And you see the high earned run average. Started the year in the minor leagues, their AAA ball club. 12 strikeout, almost a strikeout an inning, and Lou Piniella playing the percentage here. Lefties hitting in the low 200s, 238 off Davis. But this is not, again, an ordinary matchup. Paul O'Neill handles left-handers rather well, and Davis doesn't really have a devastating sharp breaking curveball. It's an off-speed curve, and that is a pitch that Paul is much more apt to be able to jerk down the lines. I don't think Joe Torre is disappointed in this matchup at all.
So here we go in a 2-0 game, the Yankees leading the Mariners. Davis getting set to work to Paul O'Neill. 2 outs and 2 on. He bends that one a little bit inside. Paul talking to himself. I think he said, come on. There it was. Sharp breaker on the outside part of the plate.
Almost looked like Paul was expecting a fastball. And the late break, perfect spot for the breaking ball.
A ball and a strike. You see how Seattle plays against O'Neill, deep and fairly straight away. Reaching for that one.
Now what Paul has had the ability to do is like his former manager Lou Piniella. This again, Davis gets the sweeper outside. He'll look bad like that on 2 of them. And they go back there the 3rd time, and we've seen him reach out and cover the plate and take that ball the other way. Piniella was good at that also. Look bad on 2 breaking balls, hit the 3rd one.
That one brought in a little closer to the hitting zone of O'Neill. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, 2-0. O'Neill tonight with a single and 3 at-bats. His league leading average has dropped 1 point, 376. He got wood on this one, but it's playable at 3rd base for Russell Davis. Derek Jeter stopping right around Davis. And O'Neill pops out to end the Yankees' 7th inning. The Yankees don't score, but coming out on the mound to pitch the 8th inning in a 2-0 game is Doc Gooden.
A recent study shows that it takes just 22 minutes for the average New Yorker to reach full alertness. And in that same 22 minutes, the average New Yorker can also reach full awareness.
Remember, alternate side of the street parking is back in effect today. And from the Wins trip.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Wake up every morning to 1010 Wins.
Cooperstown, New York. It's small town America, and it's the American game. Baseball's heroes and treasures all gathered together in a magical building on Main Street. This is Joe Garagiola inviting you to visit the Baseball Hall of Fame in the perfect village of Cooperstown, New York. I tell you, it's a special place. A place of dreams and memories. Don't you miss it.
Grab a seat and hold on tight. Don't miss all the fast-paced, hard-driving action of Metro Stars Soccer, the real deal. Next Friday night on MSG.
Dwight Gooden on the mound. Inning number 8. And the leadoff man is Joey Cora. Curveball taken for a strike. Cora, Davis, and Bragg, the scheduled hitters here in the 8th. Lifted in the air to right field. O'Neill is coming in. Calling. 1 down in the 8th. Yet another fly ball out.
Special night in the Bronx for Doc Gooden. 4th game in a row. He just continues to get better. Mel Stottlemyre probably checking the pitch count, but you know what? At this time, they don't care what that pitch count is. Doc Gooden's not coming out of this game right now.
Well, Gooden now will have to face a new batter as the Mariners send up a pinch hitter. Torrey making the notation on his lineup card. Doug Strange, as a Gooden with a false start there, will throw the rubber again. Strange is batting for Russell Davis. And he takes a curveball for strike 1. Joe Girardi is behind the plate. Gooden has had excellent command of his fastball all night. The curveball has gotten better as the game has progressed.
There again is that you just can't get a called strike on that pitch. See, it's belt high. Maybe the camera angle's wrong, but it sure looked like it had part of the corner.
Here's a bouncing ball gloved by Gooden. He'll throw to first for the easy out. 2 away in the 8th.
has gotten more ground ball outs. You mentioned the command of the fastball. In the early innings, it was a little more erratic. But the curveball has gotten better and better. And now he's even getting more ground outs.
Darren Bragg hit a short ground ball to first as he takes a curve for a strike. The ball that ricocheted off of the body of Tino Martinez landed in the stands. It was ruled in error. Gooden pitching here now in the 8th with 2 outs. That's a foul at the plate. Stoudemire on the phone to the bullpen.
He said, sit down, boys. Doc's got it.
No balls and 2 strikes. They're calm on the Yankee bench. Sharp breaking pitch almost hit Brad. He fine-tuned him a couple of games ago, and he's been terrific since. Did he hold up? Yes, he did. Al Clark down at third base.
And he did hold up in time.
Now the count is all even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Do it again.
We've talked about the sometimes disappointing crowds here at the stadium, the way the Yankees are playing, but tonight one of the better crowds, and they have sensed what's going on the field from about the 3rd inning on, and they've been into it.
The paid crowd 20,786, but there's many more in the park. There are many more, and that pitch is low and the count goes full. 3-2 here in the bottom of the 8th inning, top of the 8th inning with 2 outs, nobody on base. In for a call, strike 3. Gooden got the fastball at the knees, and the Seattle Mariners go down in the 8th inning. They go down 1-2-3. This game is heading to the bottom of the 8th with the Yankees leading Seattle 2-0.
Boxing isn't just some game. You better believe it takes guts to enter the ring. Budweiser, the undefeated, undisputed king of beers, and boxing sponsorship and closed circuit. Bud just says, bring 'em on.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Live from Caesar's Palace, Chavez versus De La Hoya, Friday, June 7th. This Bud's for you.
Aches and pains acting up again? Imagine 5 sets of massaging hands all over your body. Now enjoy Back Pleaser by Homedics with 5 massaging motors. Command Controller relieves neck, shoulder, lower back, buttocks, thighs, or any combination of the 5. Press the cycle button for massage waves up and down your body. Adjust the speed and strength. Slow and gentle to relax, or intense and fast to energize. Work seated, reclining, or lying down.
Pain in my back, gone. I love it. It feels like 5 sets of hands.
I can't relax without it.
Massaging systems sell for hundreds, even thousands. Now order Back Pleaser for just 4 easy payments of $24.95. Order now and we'll include your free car adapter. Get Back Pleaser with heat for just 1 extra payment of $24.95. Back Pleaser by Homedics, the massage system you'll use anywhere, anytime.
To order Back Pleaser, call 1-800-495-9900 or send check or money order for $99.80 plus $19.95 shipping to the address on your screen. Michigan residents, please add 6% sales tax. Call now.
The Yanks homestand continues against the Angels after AT&T Scorecard. Friday night on MSG.
Bottom of the 8th inning about to unfold at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees 2, the Mariners nothing. Dwight Gooden, after his 8th inning of work, into the Yankee dugout. A little high five from Andy Pettitte, but few words from anybody else. Ruben Sierra swinging and missing at Tim Davis's first pitch.
Yeah, and as you would expect, everybody in that dugout, see Andy Pettitte probably been giving him high fives the last 4 or 5 innings. They're going to keep doing the same thing in that dugout.
Sierra missing again. Ruben trying to figure out what's going on here as he faces Tim Davis. 0 for 3 against him prior to this at-bat. Behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. That pitch was well up out of the strike zone, and he gives it a long ride, but Ken Griffey says, I'll take it, and he does. Right in front of Darren Bragg. 1 away in the bottom of the 8th inning.
First baseman, Tino Martinez.
Tino Martinez had a sacrifice fly last time up. It drove in the first run of the game. There's Edwin Hurtado warming up in the Seattle bullpen. A little bit low from Tim Davis.
And not just because of what we've seen from Doc Gooden tonight, the special performance, but what would be a big win and an unusual win for the Yankees. They have only won one other game this year, a low scoring affair like this where they score less than 3 runs.
That's a fair ball. And Sereno does it by himself to retire Tino Martinez and return the favor. A couple of innings ago, Martinez fielded a ground ball and tagged the base to put away Sereno. So 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th.
And Lou Piniella playing every percentage he can. He is going to go righty to righty, and as is the case, Dave, when you see something unusual, doesn't happen very often, unfolding in baseball, Doc Gooden is going to have to face the heart of the Mariner lineup in the top of the 9th inning. Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr., and Edgar Martinez are the 3 hitters due up.
You mentioned that low-scoring game. That was the game the Yankees beat the White Sox 2-0. Gooden pitched in that game. Then it was Rivera and Wetland to finish it up. Yankees leading Seattle 2-0. Don't you dare leave us.
Maybe you've never been in an accident, but I bet your car's got airbags, right? And maybe your house has never burned down, but I bet you've got smoke detectors. You're prepared for everything, but I bet you don't have flood insurance. Truth is, floods damage as many homes as fires. Now flood insurance is easy to get from the National Flood Insurance Program. So protect yourself. Because many people think their homeowner's insurance will cover flood damage. It doesn't. Only flood insurance enables you to rebuild your life without having to go deep into debt. Floods can happen anywhere. Storms cause rivers to overflow. New construction can cause runoff. The ground gets saturated. Soon the rising water is at your door. With floods, you can never say never. Give yourself peace of mind. Call your insurance company, agent, or this toll-free number. The National Flood Insurance Program. We can't replace your memories, but we can help you build new ones.
Who is the world's greatest fighter? Is it Ken the Rock Shamrock, the world super fight champion, or Dan the Beast Severn, the ultimate champion? Find out Friday, May 17th at the Ultimate Fighting Championship 9. The fight, Shamrock versus Severn. Who will wear the belt of the world's greatest fighter? The card, the battle of UFC champions Fry versus Huas, plus 4 more explosive fights. One night, 6 great matchups. Friday, May 17th, live on pay-per-view. UFC 9. Don't miss it.
Back with you at Yankee Stadium for the bottom of the 8th inning. 2 men away, and the Seattle Mariners have made a pitching change, bringing on the Venezuelan Edwin Hurtado, 6'3", 215 pounds, and that may be an understatement.
Well, they picked him up from the Blue Jays for hard-throwing right-hander Bill Risley, and you can see that Edwin, a fairly hard thrower with almost a strikeout an inning, but a lot of hits per inning and a lot of walks. Lou Piniella right here just playing the percentage, righty versus righty.
Seattle also got Paul Menhart in that trade with the Blue Jays. They gave up Risley and Miguel Cairo, and Jim Leyritz broke out of his slump nicely tonight with a pair of singles. As a run batted in, average again creeping toward 300 against Edwin Hurtado. Slider, strike 1. Yankees 2 and Seattle nothing. swung through it. 0-2.
All the focus on Doc Gooden's pitching without that spectacular catch by Gerald Williams in the first inning. This could be quite a different ball game.
Drops down sidearm, and that pitch is a little bit low. Leyritz, the Yankee DH tonight. Ruben Sierra in left field. And a swing and a miss to end the 8th inning. And now the Yankees and the Mariners have played 8 innings. The Yankees lead it 2-0, and Dwight Gooden is heading out for the 9th inning. You might want to call some of your friends and let them know what's going on here at Yankee Stadium on MSG.
Grab a seat and hold on tight. Don't miss all the fast-paced, hard-driving action of Metro Stars Soccer, the real deal. Next Friday night on MSG.
When the fans start pouring in, you can sense the next win. In the capital of the world's most famous arena. It's the world's most famous ring. It's the big bird dances thing. It's the capital of the world. It's where the New York Rangers team achieves their greatest dream. It's the fiercest game of all, the neatest fighting volleyball, where the big tops twice as big. Greatest show on earth. And the rock stars come to be. It's the capital of the world. It's the magic of the garden, Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, the world's most famous arena.
Best in the game.
Wade Boggs with a diving stop. The Yankees are back on top.
The moment of that.
On MSG, catch it right here.
The Yanks homestand continues against the Angels after AT&T Scorecard. Friday night on MSG.
You see the line score through 8 innings. Dwight Gooden in search of his 2nd Yankee win. And he wants a new baseball to begin the 9th. Just 109 pitches through the first 8 innings.
Yeah, and those 4 walks were in the first 3 innings when Doc still was searching for command of his fastball.
Alex Rodriguez, the 20-year-old shortstop. Gooden started out each hitter last inning with a cold strike and a curveball for strike 1. Rodriguez has reached once on a walk back in the 3rd. Taken for a strike. Gooden, in his first outing as a Yankee in Texas, gave up 2 home runs. Has not allowed a home run since. This ball is fouled out of play. Leadoff man in the 9th inning with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. I told you the crowd seemed much larger than it was initially announced. 31,000 actually in the ballpark. And boy, are they being treated to a spectacle tonight. All even now at 2-2. Mel Stoudemire was all smiles on the bench. Ken Griffey Jr. is on deck. And then Edgar Martinez. But this is the first batter, Alex Rodriguez. And Gooden goes to another full count.
And there's going to be a lot of Yankee players running to the bathroom as soon as this game's over, because as you notice, Joe Torre and the rest of them, they haven't moved since about the 3 innings. You don't change positions.
Not close, and that's ball 4.
Well, the dilemma that Joe Torre has right now, the pitch count at 113. This is the most pitches Doc has thrown in a big league game in well over a year and a half. And they're not about to take him out, but yet with a 2-0 score, there's also tough decisions to be made by Joe Torre. in preserving the win.
And back to the phone goes the Yankee pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre. Gooden blowing on his hand as he has done all night. The next two hitters could be the toughest two in baseball. Back to back. Ball one to Ken Griffey Jr. Nobody is seated in this ballpark. The curve gets the outside part of the plate.
Breaking late and over the outside corner.
This ball is hit slowly. Fielded by Martinez to the bag with a dive in time.
Quick decision by Tino Martinez. Doc was not going to be there in time for him to make the toss. So he makes the headlong dive and just gets to first base ahead of his former teammate. Still seated.
One out now in the ninth. A runner at second base. And Edgar Martinez, the American League batting champ, at the plate. Girardi blocks it. Rodriguez walked and went to second on that ground out.
A lot of times in games like this, you have the luxury of a big lead and being able to work differently. Doc Gooden, top concern is winning this game.
No call from Dan Morrison behind the plate on that breaking pitch. Nobody has moved. Dwight Gooden on the mound with a 2-ball, no-strike count to Edgar Martinez. Strike one.
Pretty good, think so. Pretty good testament to Doc Gooden's fastball in the ninth inning to get Edgar Martinez to start to chase it. Couldn't hold up. That had some late life on it.
He is such a tough hitter, Edgar Martinez. Stottlemyre's loose. On the outside corner, strike two.
Right on target.
Tried to get the same spot, and now he goes full to Edgar Martinez. First base is open.
Well, you can't tell the difference when these two teams meet, whether it's October or May. They can't play a dull game.
Jay Buhner waiting. Doc Gooden is ready. He went to the hook, and that's ball four. 2 walks now in the ninth inning. Gooden just threw his 125th pitch of the game.
No trips to the mound. And now suddenly the focus again goes on winning the ball game instead of what might be in store for Doc from a personal standpoint.
And gets away from Girardi, and 2 runners now will move up. Rodriguez to third, and Martinez down to second base in a 2-0 game. Mel Stottlemyre looks like he wants to get off the bench.
Yeah, yep. Ooh, this is not good. I wouldn't want to be Mel Stottlemyre right now and make this walk.
But here he comes. One of the all-time Yankee great pitchers, now the Yankee pitching coach, going to the mound in the ninth inning.
And he's going to say, now be honest with me, how do you feel? And you know Doc Gooden, and any pitcher that's competitive is going to say, I feel fine. He wants to stay in this game. The only time I can remember a pitcher being taken out of a game like this was, I believe, the first year the Padres were in existence. Clay Kirby was taken out by Preston Gomez in the ninth inning because of a low-scoring game and a few walks. Preston had to make a move to try to win the ball game.
Well, Mel has made his point, and he returns quickly to the Yankee dugout. In the meantime, Lou Piniella has made a change. He sent Rich Amaral out to run at second base for Edgar Martinez.
Checking the hitters. Sorrento, the lefty, is due up next.
There's Amaral off his second. The pitch to Buhner on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Fastballs at this point are part arm strength and part adrenaline.
Yankees 2 and the Mariners nothing. Count goes to 2-1 to Jay Buhner. Gooden has walked 2 here in the ninth, 6 in the game. Amaral with a good-sized lead off second. At the knees, strike 2. Gooden struck him out back in the 4th inning. Swing and a miss. Jay Buhner missing. Dwight Gooden has struck out 5, and we're down to the final out. He will pitch from the windup to Paul Sorrento. That's a curveball, strike 1. Sorrento reached on a walk. He has flied out and grounded out since. Morrison gave it a good look, but didn't ring up the right arm. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two outs in the ninth. Runners at second and third. 2-1 to count now to Paul Sorrento.
The crowd will be as worn out as they were after last year's division series games.
And the bullpen, they're not watching on TV, they're eyeballing it from a long ways away. Lifted in the air, in the infield. Derek Jeter waiting, makes the catch. A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden.
are waiting for the curtain call here at Yankee Stadium. That ball came off the bat of Sereno. Gooden threw his hands in the air, and he had to wait for that ball to come down and wait for Derek Jeter to put it away.
I don't know the last time Doc Gooden has thrown 133 pitches, but he did it tonight. And with the emotions he showed coming off the field, I think we'll put him in the Yankee ground crew lineup with YMCA. I mean, he's leading the crowd, coming back for more.
Here he is, Dwight Gooden. He has just thrown a no-hitter. Soho on the bench of Seattle.
Hey, they've never seen one of these pitched against them in their brief careers. They're going to enjoy it, even though they lost. Special moment for everyone that follows baseball.
Well, the comeback is complete now. His second Yankee win, second American League win, and hugs all around. There's Joe Girardi. And Derek Jeter, who caught the ball for the final out. Gerald Williams saved it early on with a spectacular catch in the first inning.
I think Doc gave him a couple of hugs. He deserved it.
And what a treat for this crowd here at Yankee Stadium. They turned out on a cool but beautiful night for baseball, and they were rewarded with a Dwight Gooden no-hitter. Here it is, the final out of the game. Paul Sereno lifts the curveball, and Gooden knew it. Then he had to wait for Jeter to finally put it away. Ruben Sierra coming in from left field, never had a chance in this game. And Joe Girardi catching Dwight Gooden.
Man, is that Yogi and Don Larson? Girardi right there.
And the heroes ride. Mel Stottlemyre was smiling throughout the ninth inning. Everybody else was extremely tense, and there it is.
Even the trainers came out on the field for this post-game celebration. That's as emotional as we've ever seen Doc Gooden in a baseball uniform.
I can remember all the years when his picture was painted on the side of a big office building. Not too far from Madison Square Garden. They eventually took it down, but now Dwight is riding high again. Boy, this crowd was rocking. In fact, the press box was shaking after the game ended with the final out and the no-hitter by Dwight Gooden. And the Yankees win 2-0 over Seattle, taking the first game of yet another home series. No doubt about who the guests will be when we come back. The Yankees winning it 2-0, 2-7-1, 0-0-1.
So, are you with AT&T?
No.
Oh, how's your long-distance company working out for you?
I'm not.
The Real Deal, next Friday night on MSG.
Yankee Stadium on a very special night here on MSG. There's no doubt about who our post-game guest is. Let's go down now to our studios where Mike Crispino is standing by with Dwight Gooden.
Thanks very much, Dave. And here he is, 31 years old, on the comeback trail, his 7th start as a New York Yankee. You're making this a regular affair. Now, the last 3 times you pitched, we've had you as a post-game guest. The last time you pitched, you said that was your best game ever. Now, we've got to wipe that out, right?
Yeah, we got to wipe that out. This, by far, I guess, was my best game. And, you know, coming to the game, the first couple innings, I was struggling a bit and felt like I wasn't there. But as the game went along, I was able to get stronger and stronger.
Tell me about, first of all, let's tell me about the emotion after this game. When you were lifted on the shoulders of your team, I have never seen you emote like that, not since 1986 when the Mets won the series.
Yeah, that was like the same type of feeling, you know. It's just something that hits you, you know, to do it. Once I got 2 outs, you know, I was feeling the crowd was up, and you know, I know Sorrento's got a lot of power, and so when he popped the ball up, something just went through me, and there it was.
And the crowd was up for it all night long here at Yankee Stadium, beginning with Gerald Williams in the first inning, who made one of the great catches that we have seen here. I don't even think he saw the ball go into his glove. Do you?
I don't know. He made a great play, and the thing about it, when I was in Chicago, you know, the weekend, and somebody, I think it was O'Neill, hit a ball over Darren Lewis' head, and I asked Gerald would he have made that catch. I guess he answered that question tonight.
And that turned into a double play, and that got you out of a bit of a jam. In fact, early on in the game, there were some walks that got you in some troubles. Here was the ground ball that Tino Martinez couldn't handle, and I think officially it is an error, and it should have been.
You know, it was a tough play right there. You know, Tino tried to make a nice play and put his body in front and take a wicked hop on him. And, you know, he's been making some great plays all year, so that's going to happen.
Another look at it here, and Tino Martinez, hard hit ball. Or here he makes a good play for you and able to get there and get Ken Griffey, I believe it was, on the ground ball.
Right there was a mental mistake on my part. You know, when he swung and hit it, I was kind of watching the play, and that's a play where the pitcher's got to get over the cover. You got to get there, and I broke legs, so Tino, you know, picked me up right there.
They've been playing baseball as Yankees since 93 years. This is just the 11th no-hitter in Yankee history. And did you have any inkling as the game went on that you could possibly throw a no-hitter? Now, you've never done it before.
Never done it before. I think after the 7th inning was over, you know, the crowd was cheering on, and it was a little different cheers, and that's when I noticed. I looked at the scoreboard and saw what was going on. So the 8th and 9th, I just gave it all I had.
You seemed to respond to the crowd tonight, and they were up on their feet almost like a playoff game tonight. This is only in the middle of May. I know
it was a big crowd, and you know, I know the last couple of days they've been talking about Seattle coming in. I guess about the rivalry kind of built up from last year in the playoffs. So we had a nice turnout. Hopefully we can keep this turnout coming out.
Now, in the 9th inning, you walked a couple of people. You got Jay Buhner. You struck him out for the second time in the game, and you're facing Sorrento. What did you throw him? As we take a look at it, what goes through your mind?
Well, the last pitch right there, we had to go fastball. I missed with the breaking ball earlier. So, you know, all night we've been staying away from him. And then when the game's on the line like this, with a guy with that type of power, if he's going to beat you, you want to make him beat you the other way. So, and right here, I just said I just got to throw it hard as I can, and hopefully I can get it, you know, down and away.
And here's the pitch, the final one, the 133rd of the night. It's up in the air, and you knew it, didn't you?
Yeah, right there. As soon as I went up, if Gino would have dropped it, that would have been pretty embarrassing. As soon as he caught it, that's when the emotion went through.
And get to the catcher immediately, right?
Yeah, just grab him, and Joe's the best catch I ever threw to. The night proves that.
Joe Girardi and Dwight Gooden authoring the 11th no-hitter in New York Yankee history. In the middle of that pack, could you hear anything that was going on? Anything your teammates were saying to you?
It was just a lot of screaming, and my ears are still ringing. And as you see, I lost my voice for yelling too. But it just was the greatest moment in my career in baseball.
Now, the change you made of a few starts back with Mel Stottlemyre, I mean, you went from a pitcher that was giving up a ton of runs, home runs, and you're not getting the ball over the plate. These last 4 starts, I mean, you've been as good as you've ever been. I know it has to be somewhat of a surprise to you that you could come back that strong after all that time off.
I think the surprise is to come back that quick. You know, I never lost confidence in my ability, even though I was struggling earlier. Just a matter of having better command of my pitches and getting ahead of the hitters and just trusting your stuff and stop, you know, and trying to, you know, pitch to the corners or hitters' weakness from the first pitch. And when the defense, you know, pick you up like that, that definitely helps. Mel
Stottlemyre, of course, came out to talk to you in the 9th inning. What did he say? We're going to get a look at him in the dugout watching you, but what did he say just before this?
On the last out?
Yeah, when he came out to talk to you in that 9th inning.
When he came out, he just said, I'm giving you a breather. Just take your time and relax the best you can, and it's your game to lose, and just make your pitches right here. And if this guy's going to hurt you, make him hurt you on your pitch.
All right, Dave Cohn and Jim Cott, of course, called the game from up top and were as thrilled as all the rest of us were with Dwight Gooden. As you can see him celebrating a no-hitter. 1 one-hitter. We were close. You had 5 two-hitters and 4 three-hitters. And Dave and Jim, something for Dwight?
Yeah, Doc, the one thing I know it would have taken a 2-ton truck to pull you out of the game in the 9th inning, but, you know, not having thrown that many pitches in over a year and a half, and you said you just realized you had a no-no like about the 8th inning. What was the condition of your arm strength, and your feel going to those last 2 innings? Running on fumes and adrenaline?
Jim Cott wondering what your arm strength was, what your stamina was in that 9th inning.
9th inning, my legs are a little tired, but right there you just got to go as hard as you can, as strong as you can. And also I like to dedicate this game to my father, who's undergoing heart surgery tomorrow morning.
It's a difficult time, certainly for Dwight Gooden, and an emotional time coming back. His 7th start as a New York Yankee, a no-hitter against the most powerful team in the American League. I know when you're looking at the statistics and the strategies to pitch against this team, it's awfully difficult. Let's go to Dave Cohn now. Has a question for you. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, Mike, we were wondering during the game, we didn't see any teammates talking to Dwight between innings. Did anybody say anything to him?
None of your teammates were talking to you during most of the game, were they? Except Andy Petta, I noticed, gave you a pat on the back as you came in, I believe, in the 6th or 7th inning. Is there a little superstition going on there?
I think so. And Kenny Rogers talked to me a little earlier, but like after the 5th inning, then he kind of blew me off a little bit, and everybody stayed away. But I was aware, like after the 7th, what was going on.
All right, Dwight Gooden, $20,000 paid, over $30,000 tonight. They witnessed some history for the New York Yankees and certainly for this man, Dwight Gooden. Congratulations, a great effort. A no-hitter of the Seattle Mariners in a 2-0 New York Yankee victory. Let's go up top now. Dave Cohn and Jim Cott.
Thank you very much, Mike. Congratulations to Doc Gooden. Boy, that was the most exciting game I've had to broadcast with the Yankees.
I've had the privilege to be on the bench a couple of times when teammates have thrown them and be on the opposing team of being no hit against, but to be in the booth and see a performance like that, especially in New York, and to know what Doc Gooden has gone through, and that maybe a few weeks ago there was even some doubt whether he would even start another Yankee game for a while. It was just as emotion-charged evening as we saw last year in the division playoff series. I hope we have a lot more like it.
Yeah, what a way to begin the homestand. The Yankees again win the first game of the series, and just a tremendous performance tonight by Dwight Gooden as he no-hits the Seattle Mariners 2-0, the first and only no-hitter of his major league career.
Hello, I'm Rod Gilbert, and I'd like...
Best in the game.
Wade Boggs with a diving stop. The Yankees are back on top.
The moment of fame.
On MSG, catch it right here.
The Yanks homestand continues against the Angels after AT&T Scorecard. Friday night on MSG.
You've spent when you no-hit a team like Seattle, and you can control the middle of that lineup. I mean, they struck out Ken Griffey Jr. twice. They also got Jay Buhner twice, and they held Edgar Martinez, one of the league's top hitters, 0 for 3. You got to give some credit to the catcher as well. And Joe Girardi caught the no-hitter from Dwight Gooden tonight, and he certainly enjoyed it as much as anyone else, because catchers will tell you those are the games they'll remember forever. There's Girardi. It's up in the air. He knows it's a no-hitter. All Jeter has to do is catch it, and then they meet at the mound. Dwight Gooden and Joe Girardi coupling together for a no-hitter tonight, the 11th in Yankee history. Michael Kay talked with Joe moments ago.
Joe, what do you feel like right now? I mean, we can imagine what Doc feels like.
Well, you know, that's a huge thrill for me, and I got to thank Doc for that. I mean, he was tremendous, and so far that's probably my biggest thrill in baseball.
And what's the closest you'd ever come before to catching a no-hitter?
Mike Harkey took one into the 7th, and you know, it's hard to speak. You know, you almost want to cry. You're so happy.
When you see him throwing the way he was, and he gets out of the first inning with a great play by Gerald, do you think at any time, hey, he's got great stuff tonight, or did he have great stuff?
He did. He really got it going about the 3rd inning. He started hitting his spots with his fastball, and he was getting his slider over at any time. And you know, it was basically a 2-pitch pitcher tonight, and put the ball where he wanted all night.
Nervous in the 9th inning? What's your chest feeling like?
Nervous. I said, you know, people get lockjaw. They have that little thing, and what happens when you get locked? You know what? I was nervous. You know, I mean, never been in that situation, and you know, the guy has battled through so much, and he's come so far, and he had a slow start, and he's just been so good his last 4 outings. I mean, you know, people question was Doc back. You know, I think he showed the world tonight.
Well, the ERA was 5.67 when he began. He struggled in his first 3-4 starts for the New York Yankees, but these last 4 starts have been as good as anybody could possibly have expected from a guy who hadn't pitched in almost 2 years.
And let's remember, after that rough first inning the last time out, he retired 22 in a row before they brought him out. They took him out before the 9th inning, so he has been close to perfect for about, let's say, 16 innings, 17 innings.
A jubilant Dwight Gooden throws a no-no.